people try to have a trainer for a month and then leave. And the thing is, that's fine. When it comes down to it, you're gonna adapt to my workouts after a month. I have to change something to make you keep growing. Once you stop getting sore in your workouts to a certain degree, it's like, okay, something's bad. Because the thing is, my body's not getting confused like it should be getting confused right now. My body's used to this. If I lift the same exact weights, my body's gonna be like, okay, I've done this before. This isn't new. This is normal. I have to at least lift heavier, or I have to change how I'm working out.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 44 of the Andrew Deitch podcast. It has been a few days since I've uploaded last, but that's just because I've been cranking out all kinds of other stuff, all kinds of videos and content on my Instagram and Facebook. And I'm also living life, man, just trying to do more stuff, trying to crank out as much life as possible, squeeze it all out. But today I've been a hermit. I've been inside doing work all day. But that just means more awesome content for you guys. But if you're new here, welcome to the show. As always, I have a very special guest. Every episode, we talk about all kinds of stuff. Mainly, I'm just trying to get the coolest people I know. And we try to have the most productive and best conversations that we can have. And I think today, I have an episode that it does just that. My guest today is my friend Anthony Assad, and Anthony is a powerlifter and personal trainer, and he's currently working on his degree in exercise science, and he's definitely one of the strongest dudes I know, like physically. Like, this man can deadlift like 600 pounds. That's not an exaggeration. And we actually met when we were working at a gym together, and when I met Anthony, I knew that he was a special dude. Like, he has a huge passion for learning all that he can about longevity, health, fitness, and he's really just focused on helping other people achieve their fitness goals. And a lot of personal trainers, you know, they're obviously trying to do that too, but they might just view what they do as like a normal job, kind of separate what they do from who they are. But for Anthony, it's absolutely a lifestyle, and he's really passionate about what he does. And we met up in his basement that he has actually turned into a complete home gym for an awesome conversation. And to be completely real, being completely honest here, no lie, I think I might have laughed harder on this episode than any of the other episodes so far. So I think that's saying something. We were just cracking up at some of the stuff we were talking about. And we also got really deep into religion and a lot of other subjects. But seriously, Anthony is an awesome person. He's just trying to spread mad love. And I know I say this a lot, but this was one of the most fun podcasts I've done in a while. So without any further ado, please give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, the 777 kid, Anthony Assad. All right. Anthony, we're live, sir.
Oh boy. Yo, thanks for having me on, dog.
Of course. Well, dude, seriously, like, when I saw you at the gym the other day, you're like, oh, what's up with the podcast thing? I'm like, yeah, dude, you should be on it. But actually, before that, I've been thinking about having you on before. I just hadn't, like, approached you about it, so.
I, honest to God, did not see it coming at all. Because, like I said, you have this big ol' open mindset, and everybody on here has, like, this really great story. And to me, it's like, I'm just some random guy in the gym. But obviously, you see something that I don't see. But, hey, as long as you like it, as long as you like me, I'm always going to be here for you, so I don't care.
Dude, I appreciate that. Well,
yeah, man.
I think the interesting thing too is like people. I'm the same way. Like you have to put it in perspective though. Like,
yeah.
For me, people are like, oh man, you're doing big things with this podcast, but it's like really, I've only been doing it for a few months, and like, I mean, I've been blessed enough that a lot of people are listening, but not to the point where I'm, you know, getting like celebrities like attention and they're like, yo, can I get on the pod? You know, it's like it's still like my friends a lot of the time and like all this kind of stuff. But I mean, I have a pretty big vision for where it's gonna go, so I'm excited about it. But in the beginning, man, like I didn't know if anyone was gonna give a shit, so I just like made a list of people. Like that's what I heard. Do you pay attention to Gary Vaynerchuk at all?
Oh, of course, man.
Yeah, Gary V's the man.
He's that man, dude.
Gary V's the man. And one thing I heard from him like a couple years ago was he was talking about like when you're setting out to create content around a certain subject, because that was like one thing he was really like super hyper focused on, was like find your little niche of the world and then just like go all hardcore all in on it, because that's what you got to do. and he was like, if you're gonna make a blog or a vlog or whatever, you gotta have at least a list of like 50 videos you can make before you even start. Because if you can only think of like 3 or 4, like what makes you think that after the 4th one you're gonna come up with something that'll spark the creativity for the 5th one or whatever?
True.
So I just made a fat list of like everybody who I thought was interesting, or somebody who kind of does something out of the ordinary, or kind of is creating their own path in some way, something like that. And for you, I feel like I saw that obviously you're passionate about fitness and all this stuff, but you were somebody, it wasn't like you were just a normal trainer at the gym. I saw like a little bit more, I saw something more in you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not to just like toot your horn here or anything, but seriously, like obviously there's some personal trainers that don't necessarily put in the work in themselves.
I don't want to go into it, bro.
And there's a lot of personal trainers that don't put in the work to be an awesome trainer. And I saw you all the time, like not only with your own training, really, really hardcore, but with your clients and stuff, I could tell that you were doing a little bit above and beyond what was like expected.
I appreciate that.
Even from externally, because I've never like watched you intently like train.
Yeah, like we've never actually had a real in-depth conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the fact that you can see that on the outside, that's a good thing. You're good with vibes then. Because most people don't really see that side of me unless they're good people at heart and they can kind of just, I guess, catch it out or whatever, or pull it out. But yeah, I mean, that's nuts. I'm actually shocked because I didn't think that's how you thought. That's pretty nice, man. I appreciate it big time.
Seriously, and I like how you said like the vibe thing, because I do feel like sometimes I have a knack for that. Sometimes I totally don't. Sometimes I like think this guy's cool, he's got my back, and then like something weird will happen, and you're like, okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna back off. But that's just how it goes sometimes. You can't read everybody. But where was I going with that? But yeah, basically like the cool thing about the podcast though too is like a lot of times I'll be able to kind of see someone from a distance or whatever, or someone that I haven't really been able to like sit down and have like an awesome like in-depth conversation with.
Yeah.
But the podcast kind of gives me an excuse to be like, yo, I think you're cool, and like I want to highlight that, you know. And people are normally vibing with that, you know.
Of course, man. Of course, it makes you, dog. You make people feel special.
Yeah.
And good about themselves, right?
Yeah.
Now. That's awesome.
And most of the time, people, especially on social media, it makes sense. You're pumping out your own stuff. And so for me, I'm able to kind of pump out stuff about somebody else.
Yep.
And that is the content. So it's like everybody helping each other, like raising each other up.
You actually have the concept behind my business, is raise the bar. That's what it's about. So like that's why I like your podcast, because literally I feel like I go on it and I'm just like, all right, so if I need help with this, and this, or there's something to kind of sit back and get my mind away from whatever's going on in life, like listen here, and you have good information, and you have quality freaking jokes all up on this. So I mean, everybody's having a good time one way or another, so it's good, man.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man.
And that's another thing that, I mean, like people, like I said, I'm not trying to toot anybody's horn here. I'm just talking, but a lot of times people have said I'm like a funny guy and stuff, and most of the time when people think of like a funny guy, they're thinking, oh yeah, you should be a stand-up comedian or an actor or something. And for whatever reason, that like didn't really 100% vibe with me. Like I've thought about the idea before, like yeah, I'm kind of funny, I can make people laugh, like I can come up with stuff on the spot, but I think like this hosting thing, like doing the podcast thing and having like conversations is like just, even right off the bat, I didn't realize it was something I would be like good at, but I think now that I've done a decent amount of these, I'm like, I think this is something that I'm good at and people are vibing with, that people like it.
Dude, you're doing it right, because when that's one thing I thought about, like I want to say 6-7 months ago was when I had this like paradigm shift pretty much, and I realized that because of my culture, the people that like, I'm Haitian and Jamaican, and Haitian culture and Jamaican culture, they like to do things a certain way. If you're not a doctor, you can't be successful, basically, right? But in me, I'm a trainer. I'm an exercise science major or whatever. Like my dad's like, dude, what are you doing with your life, right?
You gotta be a doctor.
Yeah, but I'm like,
you're already dealing with health, you might as well go full doctor.
Right? And I'm like, but wait, you realize that if I do things correct, I can prevent people from having to even go to the doctor. I can literally be preventative medicine for these people. And he's like, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, all right, whatever, dude, you got it. You know, right? But when it comes down to it, it's like I said, if it wasn't for me basically like following my gut feeling, then I couldn't be where I am right now. Like I said, I mean, like in here alone, the gym alone, I didn't know it was gonna end up being like this. I just knew at 17 that I was gonna end up being in a place where I want to work out, whether it meant being at a gym or being at home, but I needed to work out. So my only focus was to make it so that I had nothing that was going to stop me from doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how this whole thing started. Like I said, with the elliptical and just some mats, and now it's nice. And I still have this big old vision to make it even bigger. Of course, I have my own facility, but this is where I started, just because I believed in it. I believed in myself. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It's like how you are with this. You believe in the podcast, and that's what's important. As long as you have faith in it and you believe behind it, then that's all you really need.
Exactly.
Everything else follows through after that.
Exactly. That was one thing I talked about on my last podcast with my friend Sarah. I think that was the last podcast. It hasn't been released yet, but by the time this one gets released, people will be able to listen to it.
Yeah.
But we talked about the whole 10,000 hours concept, where it's like if you put in 10,000 hours, you'll be able to become a master of whatever skill you attempt. Mm-hmm. The only caveat to that is for me, if I put 10,000 hours into basketball, I'm never going to be LeBron James. I'm never playing in the NBA.
Oh, God.
You got to know yourself to a point.
There's a funny story behind that. So when I was born in Queens, New York, and I played, and of course in New York, all you do is play basketball or something, right?
I was going to ask you, let's start with your story. So this is good. This is good.
Yeah,
Queens, New York, born and raised.
So I was born and raised in Queens, New York.
Spent most of your days.
Pretty much. I didn't play sports because my parents weren't trying to feed me into it. My mom was working a lot. My dad was being my dad. And,
Are your parents immigrants or were they born here?
Technically they're immigrants. I mean, so my mom moved here from Jamaica at 7 years old. My dad was in and out from Haiti, probably around the same age or a little bit older. So
wow.
Yeah.
But they've lived in America for most of their life.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much
they're completely Americanized.
But technically, they came to America after they were born, so they weren't naturalized citizens. Blah blah blah.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
I mean, yeah. But anyway, so pretty much because of them, I didn't really go outside too much. My mom was all like, "Yo, you can't go outside because I don't want you to become a blood or a Crip." And I was like, "Mom, it's not gonna happen." And she was like, "No." I mean, I wasn't even allowed to wear red shoes, bro. I couldn't have red or blue shoes because my mom was just not having it. But it was okay because I had a friend who my mom liked a lot and their family. So I used to go to his house, hang out with him all the time.
And wear his red shoes.
Exactly. exactly. And his name was Alan. He shout out to Alan in New York. Shoot, man. He's a big piece of that. Him and my other best friend from New York are actually why I even got into sports. I never would have, they don't even lift weights like I lift weights. They literally, so basically, Alan played basketball. He got me outside playing basketball, and then my friend John, he played football. And I never forget. Literally, John had me outside in the rain. It was so weird. It was like Friday Night Lights. It was so cool. Literally, doing stadiums, just doing high knees and doing push-ups on the floor. And I'm just like, yo, this is so cool. I love this feeling. But he was the athlete of the group. I was nowhere near an athlete. I was literally just some lanky, weird black kid just walking around. It was weird. But so I hung out with them a lot, and they're the ones that put me that put me out there, or got my whole mindset on sports at all. And then eventually, I moved to Georgia. I want to say 10 years ago now. About a month ago, 10 years ago now. And when I got here, everyone was 3 times my size. I was 5'4", 120. And my closest friend was 6'2", 200, or captain of the football team. And I was just
so you moved when you were in, what grade was this for you?
It was 7th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was 12 turning 13. Yeah.
So that's a big move. When you're
terrifying.
when you're 7th grade, man.
Oh, dude, I was being a baby about it. It was so bad. It was so bad.
That's funny. So all your new friends are super tall and huge?
Dude, everyone around me was just a massive mammoth. It was just, I felt like an ant in a really big world. That's all it was. And I was like, okay, I have one of two ways to do this. I can either adapt, or I can just make everyone my friend so I don't get beat up or anything like that, right? Or if I do get beat up, someone has my back. That's twice my size, so I don't have to do any of the fighting. I did both. So I ended up, and this is where things got weird. I ended up joining the football team, going from 8th grade year to freshman year, and I never played football. I never got an actual game. Every single year I did the same thing. I would go and I would do the whole spring training, the freaking weight training for the first 2, 3, 4, 5 months or whatever. Basically the pre-preseason. And then I would just quit. And they'd be like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. I just can't. For some reason, something's just making me do it. Something's compelling me to just not play football. I just like the lifting part of it. And then went through high school. And after going through high school, I realized I didn't like football. I didn't like sports. Okay, I ran track. I ran track from freshman year to senior year, and I was cheeks. I was terrible. I was so bad from the whole year because the coaching the coaching was that it just wasn't there. They didn't know what to do to fix me. They just sat back and was like, okay, you're not athletic as everybody else, so we're just gotta push you to the side like they do with a lot of athletes. But they never took the time to actually look at my technique. I end up meeting a coach.
That's something that a lot of people don't understand too. Is like a lot of people just think you're like born athletic,
yes.
And if you're born athletic, then you will be athletic. They think it's like a trait that you can. It's like genes or something, and it's just like straight up not true.
Well, okay, so that's where things get funky. So technically, genetics are a huge part, right?
This is very true. Just like what I was saying with LeBron James, me playing in the
exactly.
NBA.
Like,
I can't do it.
Man, you could still be Jason Williams though, not to be racist. Like, as long as you have a 3-point shot, bro, you got it.
That's very true.
That was my dream. Oh, back to that. That was my dream, bro. I wanted to go to the NBA because I played basketball all day, and I was like, yeah, it's all good. My dad might be 5'8", my mom might be 5'4", but all my dad's brothers are all 6 foot plus. I'll make my mark one day. I'll end up hitting that growth spurt. That shit never came. And it never came. I stayed short, and I got involved in lifting. I just started to go towards that route, and I just stayed towards that route. But as I got older, like genetics-wise, I realized because of my genetics and how I was built, I was actually really good for like the sport of powerlifting. And that's why I put a lot of time into it. Like the reason why I deadlift 600 pounds is because of the fact that yes, I work out, I'm strong, and I work hard for it. But when it comes down to it, I have really damn long arms with a really short body. So of course, the distance is a lot shorter than it is for like someone like Adam or someone like Devin. Me and Devin had we had basically the same deadlift at one point, but he has a lot more distance to travel than I do. But for me, it's basically like, squeeze my butt cheeks, and then I'm good.
Like
that's
good.
it. Yeah, that's it. For Devin, it's a whole other kind of movement just because he has a lot more ways to go than I do.
In technical powerlifting, like if you were in a meet, what is the final point that you have to get past?
So for the deadlift or the squat? Right?
For a deadlift.
So
like if you're starting with the bar on the ground, obviously if people if you don't know what a deadlift is and you're listening to this, just go to YouTube. Or go to Anthony's YouTube, you'll see some videos.
Just go the 777 kid, bro. Just go to the Instagram, anything. Or if me and freaking Andrew do a video on working out soon, you can just watch that. Like, it's fine.
There we go.
But I mean, pretty much all a deadlift really is picking something up from the ground. And the finish movement for powerlifting, all it is just make sure your hips are locked out. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
in like a competition or something, as long as the weight is up and your hips are locked in, you're good.
So yeah, exactly. Like literally, and if you literally just squeeze your butt, and if you feel like your butt is squeezed and you're in a straight line, you're good. Like you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine.
So if you're super tall though, you got a lot more distance to travel before your butt cheeks are locked out.
Exactly. I mean, because think about it. When someone's super tall, the difference is like their knee's gonna bend a lot more, right? Or their position is gonna be a lot further down or whatever. It's just like if we want to get technical, just think about how like for me, I'm so weird. I measured my tibia and my femur. So I measured the two parts of my leg to see how much of a good squatter I could be, right? And if you look at my legs compared lengthwise, my leg is shorter. My legs are way shorter. Almost. My legs are longer than my body, but barely, right? So for someone else, their legs are usually either as long as their body or they're longer. And for me, like I said, because I have such long arms, I don't have to go anywhere near as far because I already have the short legs with the way long arms. I could have been a swimmer if I wasn't so short.
Yeah, I was gonna say kind of like Michael Phelps or something.
Yeah, like I have exactly. Only thing with him is he's still 6 foot plus. Yeah. I'm 5'7" with a 6'4" wingspan. Wow. Like I got 6. That was the problem. Like I read online because you can find everything on the internet. It was like you're automatically going to be the same height as your wingspan is, and I was like, oh, that's why I'm going to the NBA because my wingspan is 6'4". I'm definitely going to being that tall. Never came. It just never happened. But like my mom is when I realized it because she has a 5'4". So no, she's 5'4". Her wingspan is 5'9". So it's just genetics, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So
he's got those long Jamaican arms.
Exactly, bro. and it came through.
He's gonna slap you across the table.
Exactly. And it just came in handy. Like it's weird, but people just think I'm just this really strong guy, and I'm like, yes, okay. I like I said, I am strong, and I worked out since I got here. Like since I came to Georgia for 10 years now. But a lot of it comes down to the fact that I just happen to be really biomechanically sound, or my anatomy happens to work towards work towards me for my sport.
Yeah.
Like I'm obviously not gonna be good for the NBA anymore. Like I can't.
Yeah.
People always say, like, you know who Spud Webb is?
Name is super familiar. I don't.
So
people are gonna be mad at me for not knowing who he is.
No, not at all, bro. Split Web is like to me. I still don't know why anybody even breaks. You know who he was? You watch Space Jam?
Yeah.
The super short guy.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
He was the guy that could dunk and he was super short, right?
And yes, exactly. He was 5'6" and he can dunk. And everybody was like, you could be like Spud Webb. And I was like, yeah, until I meet Dwight Howard. Like, what am I going to do? Okay, Nate Robinson, yes, you're short as freak. You can dunk. But, bro, overall, at the average, I'm not going to be able to make it like you're going to make it. And the thing is, I'm not going to put in that much effort because I don't care that much to be like to be like you. It's just not in me. I'd rather go take my time in lifting a freaking barbell and being good at that sport. So, yeah, man.
So, like, a lot of people, I mean, I want to continue on your story, too, because I feel like that's, like, super important. But we're on, like, a subject right now that I think is really interesting about genetics versus, like, you know, skills that you can get better at. So, like, a lot of people in the powerlifting community would say that strength is a skill. Would you agree with that? Or is it, like, something you might be predispositioned to it, but you're obviously not born with natural some people may be born with more natural strength than others, but if you were not, you could hypothetically become way stronger than that person.
100%. That's like the whole situation of like, you ever heard like talent, like working hard beats talent if talent doesn't work hard?
Yep.
Right. It's the same thing with genetics. It's basically I could be who I am right now, and I could have this genetics. I could have the whole background because my dad, dude, my dad played soccer. My mom ran track. Right. My mom was a cheerleader. Nowhere in my family, in my bloodline, lift weights because they think it makes your dick small. Like that's, like dog. When I first ever told them that I was lifting weights and I was lifting heavy, they were like, "Bro, so you want to just have a small penis, right?" And I was like, "No, that's not gonna. That doesn't."
Where did anyone come up with that?
Thank you. But it's their culture for some reason. They're like, if you lift heavy weights, you're gonna end up being like your dick's gonna get small. You're gonna end up being stunning your growth. All these negative things. And I'm like, I don't believe that. That doesn't make any sense. But that's what they believed.
So I've heard of the stunning your growth thing because of spine compression, something like that.
Exactly, and that's true.
But dick compression does not exist when you're lifting weights.
Thank you, bro. Like I was just like, it doesn't make sense. Like, Pops, what are you saying to me right now?
Bro, the blood flow takes away from takes to the muscles instead of down there. So all the growth, it's like you only have a limited amount of growth.
Exactly.
And the growth will only go to the muscles, and your dick will never grow, bro.
Exactly.
Science.
So it was like, what the heck? But obviously, my dad and my mom didn't know or use their ability that they had within their own genetics to become strong. If they had, my dad could have been a really good powerlifter for all we know.
Yeah.
But we'll never know now because obviously he's 40-something years old. He doesn't lift heavy weights like that. He doesn't like doing it. But like I said, he played soccer. They forced me into soccer, and when I tell you, that was the one sport they put me in, and I freaking hated soccer, dude. Like, first of all, I don't run. Ever. I don't like cardio. Like cardio is a really weird thing with me, right? People talk about cardio and conditioning, how it's important. It is. Conditioning is important because it makes your heart big, We can get to the science of it later. But you don't have to run to get cardio.
Nah.
You don't have to do the elliptical. You don't have to do any of that kind of stuff to get cardio. So, like, anyway. So yeah, man. What
are you more inclined to do? Like high intensity interval training kind of stuff to get cardio?
Dude, not even. Man, we're gonna have such a good talk today.
I love it.
So the reason I did CrossFit, and that's what actually got me into Olympic weightlifting, just snatch and clean and jerks.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I got into that field pretty much, and how I ended up being in that. But I don't do any high intensity exercise unless it's to prepare for something specific.
Gotcha.
Like to me, the only type that I ever do if I wanted to would be sprinting because I just love sprinting.
Yeah,
and that's
it's
it.
Fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Like that's it. Besides that though, I used to do like I did Grace the 135 pound clean and jerks for 30 times for time. First time it was 10 minutes, and I was just like, why do I feel like I'm dying? Second time it was 5 minutes, and it was like, oh, I figured this thing out. Then last time I did it, I think I did it in less than 3 minutes or whatever, but that was a good 3 years ago. Because I started learning about the science behind how it all works, and I'm just like, I'd rather live.
You
long.
had to do how many clean and jerks?
30.
Jeez.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one of their main workouts. They have like the girls or whatever. So they have like Isabel and they have a Grace, and with Grace is 30 clean and jerks at 135. And with Isabel is 30 snatches at 135. And I did Isabel in less than 5 minutes or whatever. But once again, it's because I was good at the movement. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to do that to train myself because I know what it does to my heart. and I know I know how if my heart's working a certain way, it ends up putting me almost at a ailment for my future life.
Huh.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So, but like, and the reason why I bring it up is because it's people. The reason why people like high intensity exercise, the reason why people like CrossFit is because they know about this thing called EPOC, and it's called excess oxygen consumption or something like that, right? And what that means is pretty much when you start to work out, your body automatically has to take oxygen from it goes into oxygen debt and it has to borrow oxygen from your body, right? And when it does that, because of that, having to replace, you have to technically over the day or over the time of the day burn fat or take or whatever. Like basically you burn more fat during the day because of EPOC. And people like doing CrossFit because of EPOC, and that's why they do it. What they don't understand about the situation is when you work out like that, you're putting your heart at a place where it's just working really hard. And that's cool, that's fine. That's a good thing if you're someone who's trying to become better at having a high heart rate. But the higher your heart rate is on a daily basis, the less life you have, because they've almost they put it into numbers, and this is one study probably, but not like, so we don't know this for a fact. But what they're saying is there's an average amount of heartbeats per lifespan. So pretty much what they're saying is if your heart beats a certain amount of times per your lifespan, so per year, per month, per decade, whatever, per day, per hour, per minute, then the more that it does that, the closer you are to death. And I'd rather have my heart rate sitting at somewhere where it's a lot lower and not having to work as hard, because most people want to do what? Get sexy and have abs, right? And not be an athlete, just look good.
Exactly.
You don't get to a place where you burn fat like that by doing high intensity exercise. When you do high intensity exercise, you actually burn carbs, because the higher your intensity is, the more you go towards burning carbs or burning carbohydrates. When your body is sitting at like a low intensity or a resting place almost sometimes, it tends to burn more fat, depending unless you're someone that's really high stress.
Like in the 60 to 65% range.
Exactly. To me, like it's really weird, because my mom and I got into a discussion one time about this marathoner or this bike, like the cyclist or somebody, and it was the fact that his heart was huge. And they said that pretty much he never, like he was a really good cyclist. He won whatever he won for I don't know how many times, and then he took a break, and then he came back, trained for like a few months, and he was good again, because his heart had just adapted from his training previously for so long that he had a heart rate that was, he had a really big heart, and because he had a really big heart, he had a really slow heart rate.
Because like more volume of blood could be like pumped through. Yeah. With the same amount of beats as a normal person.
Exactly.
Okay.
So exactly, like pretty much. So basically, the bigger your heart is, the more blood you can pump into each beat without really trying as hard.
Kind of like an engine. Like the bigger the piston size, like the more powerful it is.
Exactly. So because of that, like when your heart is that strong, when your heart is that big, when you work out like that, like putting it in regular people's terms, doing 30 minutes of cardio on the treadmill or on elliptical, right? Doing that's what gets your heart to the place that it needs to be for you to live a long time. It's not the go freaking high intensity whatever 20 AM reps. I mean, like I said, I see purpose for them for the athletes that I use them for. Mm-hmm. But if you have no reason that you're like, if you don't have a specific reason as to why you're doing it, it's kind of a waste of time to me. You know, because I'd rather, my goal is to make sure that you live another 20 years or whatever amount of time that I can put onto your life. Not make it so that you're just feeling good this one time because somebody else down the block is doing it. Because
kind of like the runner's high or whatever. Like people talk about runner's high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting, man.
Yeah,
that's very fascinating.
Yeah,
that's something that a lot of people don't consider when they're training. They don't consider like what their actual goal is. Like you said, most people want to get sexy. They want to have abs. They want to look good and feel good, of course. Yeah. And a lot of times, like the exercise they're doing isn't even necessarily optimized for that, or it's even like detrimental to their health in the future. That's interesting.
I don't see any point, and I mean, unless my grandma wants to do a snatch, then do it, ma. Like you got it, Grammy. you got it. But if you don't need to, if your only goal is to be able to pick up your grandchild or your great grandchild, then whenever they come up to visit, I have no reason to make you put a weight over your head. Because one, it's dangerous. Yes, it can end up going bad, but it's a high skilled movement. I first snatched when I joined the CrossFit gym, and it was cool, and it was like, holy crap, I can do this. But
it's a badass movement. Anytime you can put heavy weight over your head, that's badass.
Exactly, it's the coolest freaking thing in the world, and it's because it's appeasing to the eye, right? It's nice, totally. Like it looks good, but how important is that is the looking good of that situation compared to my grandma possibly either dropping on her head or tearing her rotator cuff because she's old and she doesn't need to do that. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I just...
like if you listen to the podcast with me and Adam, we kind of talked about CrossFit and stuff and how many people are getting hurt and stuff because they're just doing these very high skill movements that they're not, number one, they're not trained to do, but number two, they don't even need to be doing it in the first place.
Exactly. And it's they don't know better because I mean, technically...
It's a fad.
Yeah, exactly. It's CrossFit... CrossFit's funny because to me, it's really just someone just said, okay, I'm going to take circuit training and make it really cool. Like that's, because think about it, circuit training has been around for, I don't know, since way before CrossFit. All you did was take a bunch of movements, put it together, and you did it for a certain amount of time, and that was it. You didn't really go for, I mean, there wasn't a goal to it. There wasn't a set intensity that kind of reached forward to it. But CrossFit brought out the whole, like, you know, do this for time, get after this. Go for this goal or whatever. Like, I mean, granted, if you do CrossFit and it gets you fit, it has its benefits. Do it. That's fine. Like, I want you to, because I'd rather you do CrossFit than you being a bum at home and not doing anything with your life. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, I just feel like I'd rather you live longer in a much safer way. That's it.
Yeah. That's like the paralysis of analysis thing. A lot of people get way too into like, okay, what is the most optimized thing to do? My friend Jamie one time, I was like asking him, I'm like, yo, do you think these exercises are good for what I'm trying? He's like, yeah, like, to be honest, you could probably optimize them a little more, but the most important thing is that you're at the gym doing things that are building muscle. Like, you're actually you're doing things. You're lifting weights. You're doing hard shit.
Yeah.
And even building that mental toughness a lot of times is more important than the physical strength. No, because it'll optimize you to continue doing that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, man. I mean, think about it this way: if you're someone who can go through a CrossFit workout that can literally just go balls through the wall and not give up, which is a big piece of life, you know what I mean? It applies to everything else. It's the reason why we push through anything we do. It's the reason why whenever there's an obstacle in our life, we end up actually being, all right, you know what? This is kind of hard. This is getting worse. This is getting worse. This is getting worse. But as long as I keep my mindset right and I keep my mind on the goal, finishing the workout, I can get to where I want to be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's huge.
For sure. Huge. So let's go back for a second. So you talked about how you got into powerlifting and stuff, but did you get into CrossFit first, or was it powerlifting first, or what happened?
Technically, if you want to speak technically, we all kind of powerlifted when we were doing like football weight training.
Gotcha.
It was always bench, squat, and deadlift, right?
Yeah.
But
so
CrossFit,
for people that aren't familiar with all these terms that we're using, because obviously like powerlifting, a lot of people might not even know the difference between powerlifting and bodybuilding. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's
completely different
between like powerlifting, bodybuilding, and weightlifting. So when I say Olympic weightlifting, I'm talking about like snatch and clean and jerk only. When I say powerlifting, I'm talking about squat, bench, and deadlift, and then to me press, because that was part of this program.
Shoulder press.
Yeah, exactly. Shoulder press, overhead press, whatever you want to call it, military press, whatever you want to call it. And then when it comes to like what was the other one? Bodybuilding is all about aesthetics. And you don't train the same for bodybuilding than that you would for powerlifting.
Very differently.
Yeah, it's super different. Or CrossFit. I mean, there's a whole lot of ways that you can go about it. But if you put it together, if you put it all together, I found that you can actually use all the sports in one and become a lot much more of an athlete than you would otherwise. Because I mean, if you're a bodybuilder, your only concern is to usually get in the gym and do time under tension, build a substantial amount of muscle. Your diet's way more important than your actual working out is for the most part, because diet's huge for them, obviously.
Yeah.
And your own,
because it all goes down to that one, like, because powerlifting and bodybuilding all eventually have this like peak that you're trying to reach. Like powerlifting, you're reaching this, okay, what is my combined weight that I can lift at this meet or whatever. Like if you're doing it competitively. Bodybuilding, I mean, I'm pretty much, obviously there's people that don't compete, but like if you're a competitive bodybuilder and trying to win contests and stuff, it's like there's this one final show day that you were working towards, and you want to be stage lean and all that. Like you got to put in the science work of your diet to get to that.
Exactly. No, that's and for them that's hard. I mean that's hard for anybody. Well, the good thing about powerlifting as of lately is the fact that they've been actually, you see a lot more guys who look more like me and Devin, who aren't just big fat guys just lifting weights. They're actually pretty lean, and they can almost be bodybuilders. Because there was a guy a long time ago named Ed Cohn, and he's arguably the best powerlifter of all time. He had like a 900-pound plus deadlift, and that's why I'm trying to go there and try to break that. That's my goal. He had like a 500-600 pound bench. He had a huge squat, same thing, 700-800 pounds, or more. And when it came down to it, they said that he was so special because of the fact that he wasn't a regular looking guy. He was on do you know? So there was a it's called Flex magazine. It was basically the magazine for bodybuilders to go look and find their information, right? And
I think Adam talked about that in his podcast too.
Yeah. So like he was on the cover next to what's his name? It was basically the guy that came in. The guy that was after Ronnie Coleman, you know Ronnie Coleman, right? Mm-hmm. So the guy that was under Ronnie Coleman, but he was almost as good as him when it came to how many titles he had. They were on the cover together because of the fact
that white dude, black dude,
white guy. Yeah, I forget his name.
Under Ronnie Coleman.
I forget his name because he was.
I don't know.
He was massive, but they had him on the cover together because he just looked that damn good compared. And it's like, well, and the thing around that is, well, as you go deeper into the science, bodybuilding, like I said, if you're a good bodybuilder, you can actually be a pretty good powerlifter because you actually have a lot more muscle, technically.
Yeah, because like with people, I've heard this a lot, like with strength comes size, with size comes strength kind of thing. Like,
goes together.
If you're bodybuilding, you're trying to grow your muscles. When your muscles are getting bigger, you're obviously getting stronger. You might not be optimizing them for those certain lifts that you're trying to do in powerlifting. But like with powerlifting, like you're getting way stronger. You're also just gonna get bigger by default. Like you might not be huge, but like you are gonna get some size for sure.
Yeah, no, for a fact. Like if you want to go the science route of it, it's basically as you work out and you build muscle, you build more space for motor neurons. The more motor neurons you can have, the more you can use. The more you can use, the stronger you can be because they're the ones that because they're the things that go off that make you lift the heavy ass weight pretty much. Yeah, so technically, the bigger you are, the stronger you can be. It goes hand in hand.
That just makes sense. Yeah. Obviously, like a small person isn't going to be able to lift as much as a big dude.
Exactly, but that's where science is getting weird. There's a thing called hyperplasia where basically it's muscle being built, but not so much the size part of it. So like you can look at me, like if I was to get a 300 or 400 plus pound like bench, right? And I was to go against Devin, you can look at me and Devin and say, okay, Devin's obviously bigger than you, not just height wise, he's bigger than you like size wise, right? But apparently they're saying they want to do more studies on it, but they're saying because of how bodybuilders are and how they work out, they stay at that same weight, but they build so much muscle within their muscle, quote unquote, that they technically could have more motor neurons than the powerlifters do. So they're actually they're not using their ability to be good powerlifters.
Huh.
Yeah, it's
so like, hyperplasia would be the idea that like even though your muscle is the same size, there's like it's more dense or something.
Yes,
like there's
exactly,
more
basically.
There's more muscle in there. Like the potential for strength is more.
Exactly.
Even though the muscle's same size.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. And that's where
interesting.
Yeah, that's what things are getting weird. This is a guy named Dr. Andy Galpin. He like you.
I just listened to a podcast with him.
Dog, he is my Jesus, bro. I love him so much. He's so dang smart. Like
I love how he'll take like something that someone says. He's like, yes, but also there's this one little other thing. He's like, yes, kind of, but there's a million circumstances that could make it different or whatever.
But that's
it's science.
He's a scientist. I mean, he said it best. It's like, well, when it comes down to it, we're just a whole bunch of people saying a whole bunch of things that could really be wrong, but as of right now, they're kind of right. Like there was I was listening to a podcast with him, and I think it was him and Travis Mash, and they were saying that apparently there was a guy who made a study that said if you lift weights, it's bad for your health, it's going to kill you faster. And it was like in the 1950s. And pretty much, obviously, as time went by, his whole study got crapped on because two guys came to this thing that he was at, and they were like, okay, we're pretty big. I mean, we're bodybuilders, but we can also do splits. So we have flexibility. We're probably going to live long, da-da-da-da. And like I said, his whole fight was the fact that with his science, bodybuilding was going to be bad for your flexibility. You weren't going to be able to live, walk, whatever. It's bad for you. But when you find out over time, if you lift weights, technically, if you have strong enough muscles, this is about to be a weird comparison. For girls who have really big boobs, right? Mm-hmm. You ever notice that they automatically, most of them kind of have that slouch, like a little bit? That's just because of the fact that the weight that's on their chest compared to how strong their mid back or their scapula is, it's just not as strong. If they have stronger mid backs, they can stay a lot more upright, a lot easier. But it's the fact that you have two paddling forces, one that's just stronger than the other. And as long as the front is stronger than the back, then the front's gonna pull. I guess it's as simple as that.
Just like the guy that's only benching, never working out his back, and he's like all humped over, like, ugh.
Dude,
everything's just like all pulling him forward.
I saw some guy at Lifetime where literally he had no back. His whole like front was just like he was just curved, like Sonic the Hedgehog, like spinning, like hair curved, bro. It was crazy. I looked at him and I was like, "Have you heard of a bent row, like ever?" But then of course he got on the bench and then he benched 315 for reps, and I'm like, I'm so proud of you for being so strong with your bench, but guess what? At like 60 years old, you're gonna be livid because you're gonna be walking around with your fucking head almost touching your knees. You're gonna be bent over so damn hard.
You're gonna be rolling around like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Like straight up, dog. I'm just like to me when I saw it, when I looked at him, I was like, dog, why do you hate yourself so much? It's a simple thing, because to me, the one thing that I saw with my training a lot was if I put chest and back together, and Arnold did this first. He did the whole upper body split where he did back and chest together, and together they work really well for me, at least, and for him and for anybody else that ever used it, I guess, whatever. But you can just do the freaking bent rows after your bench, dog. Like, it's not a big deal. Just like I said, I'm still looking out for your long life, and honest to God, they've done studies about how people that happen to walk around slouched are not as confident. So I'm trying to make sure you can still get a girlfriend, dog. Like, I mean, look confident, look good, keep your chest upright, and that's it. That's all I care about. You can still bench 315. I'm just asking you to bent row 350. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
have you ever seen anybody with like a super muscular jacked back and like just nothing on the front?
Me, bro, on the low. On the low. I say that because okay, so if you look at all my movements where I'm pulling, dude, it's so sad. My best bent row is 300. My best bench is only 2. Well, they're actually kind of even because I work towards it. So they're good now. But back in the day, naturally pulling wise, my best bent row was like 300 plus, and then my best bench was like mid hundreds. And yeah, and then like squat, and then you can see it where I squat and deadlifted wise, because squatting wise, I have a 400 pound squat, but my deadlift is 600 pounds. It's 200 pounds over. If I work towards the way I want to, just working on what I care about, most likely I'll be that guy who walks super upright, super big back, no chest. Just because of the fact that I worked there for so long, and I worked there for so long because it was just easier and it worked better for me. You know what I mean?
I feel like just most people though don't do that because of the aesthetics though, because like when they look in the mirror, they want to see the muscles. They don't want to be turning around. They don't want to be turning around like flexing their back.
And I'm like, I don't get it, dude. Girls, dude, listen. At least for me, girls like my back. So I mean, it's cool to have a good and a big and a nice back. I mean, that's like when you're walking in front of somebody, they see that and they can see your back and be like, okay, obviously it may not be a thing that I'm looking at, but looking at your back, I can tell you work out. I want to see the front. Like,
and like
okay.
If you're trying to get like wider in your upper body, like chest is not the place to do that. Like you got to grow your lats.
Exactly. See, Andrew, you know, why'd you have to leave me, bro? You left for like how many months? I was so sad. Like, honestly, I wish you would have stayed, because it would have been me, you, Devin, just being a whole bunch of swole monkeys. Like, it would have been so nice.
I don't know if I'm at y'all's level, but...
Nah, frick that. Devin's not that strong. He's a little bitch. Devin's a little bitch. Devin, I love you, bro, but you're a little bitch.
So yeah, we didn't really mention this on the podcast, but that's how me and Anthony met. We worked at a gym together, and we were the homies.
The best gym in America.
There we go.
Dog, will I get sued if I talk shit about them?
I don't think so.
I absolutely despise Lifetime Fitness with everything in my heart, okay? And it's only because of the fact that if y'all just showed more love to the clients and less love to the money, he feels me. You know what I'm saying? It would be so much better. And that's the problem with it. Like, the thing is, it's probably funny. When I first met you, bro, I was like, who is this guy? Like, I was like, you seem for some reason, I don't know if it was the beard or it was the red hair or whatever, but you seem low key douchey. And I was like, I don't like him. I was automatically like, I don't like him. And then of course, like, you know, we were at the front desk together. You were my trainer or whatever you want to call it. And I started hanging out with you, and we talked about that one girl. And then I was like, ooh, my man Andrew's kind of cool. Like, you know, I was like, I like this guy, bro. And after that, it was just natural. But like, The one thing.
That's funny. I don't perceive myself as douchey, but I could see how I could look a little bit douchey sometimes.
I'm an asshole. It happens. Like it was. I mean, I hated on Adam for the longest time because I walked in and I was like, "Yep, he's the one that gets all the girls." I already know. Because you, I even want to. Adam, your life is crazy, man. You're good.
Adam is maybe the number one bachelor that I know.
What a fact.
Just playing the field.
Adam's name, honest to God, should be the finesser. Like his
1,000%.
Like right? He's literally the finesser. But the one thing that took me off guard at Lifetime, like I said, you have so many people who are walking around that place who have so much potential, and the reason why they got hired is because they're really good people in a really shitty place. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Like that's the thing, bro. I totally agree. Like Lifetime, so many of their policies, like obviously. Here's the deal. If you want a gym with like tons of amenities and you have a family, Lifetime is a really good place to work out. And I'm still a member there. Like it's still my gym, dude. Like I've been a member there for almost 10 years now. I've been a member there for a long ass time. Yeah. And it's like what I know. Like so when I go to other gyms, I'm like, damn, they don't even have towels. You know what I mean? Like I'm spoiled.
Hey, is that the first one you ever went to?
The first gym I ever went to? Pretty much. Like,
damn, that makes so much sense.
Which is kind of crazy because when I was like growing up, I played tennis. So like playing tennis is just a different kind of sport. Like there's not much strength training. A lot of the stuff is like kind of like you're trying to do like suicide kind of stuff. You're trying to do obviously you're on the court most of the day. You're not really going in a gym and hitting the weights. Yeah. And the first time I went to Lifetime, so I was a freshman in high school. So it was the first time I ever like actually well, this is actually kind of a crazy story. I've never told this before on the podcast. So freshman year, I like first semester I took PE, right? Mm-hmm. And we had like part of PE like once a week we had like weight training. And like that was pretty much like the first time I'd ever like actually been in like a facility where I was going to do like a bench or like anything like that, which is kind of weird. But like I had done workouts like with my parents and stuff, but like a lot of times my parents were kind of into like, oh, let's buy this DVD and like some tension.
My mom's still like that, and I'm like, Mom, I'm an exercise science major. I'm not having a degree. Why do you hate me so much? Like, what is this?
Why are you watching these DVDs?
Like, stop it.
Of Tony Horton.
Yeah. Alright, I'm not gonna lie though. P90X dog. When I first saw, because the thing is, as a person that likes fitness, you have to try everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
dude, actually, Insanity. Have you ever done the Insanity with Sean T?
Dude, I have never in my life. I mean, I won't talk about it.
It's funny, man. But like, where did I get the idea? I remember like just seeing something and I was just like, I'm gonna try that. So I like pirated the Insanity videos, and I started doing Insanity at one point. This is after I had been working at Lifetime, but anyways. Like I said, I played like tennis pretty much throughout, but like in PE, that was like the first time I actually like had someone teaching me like proper movement and stuff like that, which a lot of people are like, the PE system in America, it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. But it was actually kind of like a good introduction for me because I was excited by it because I'm like, oh, cool. Like I was always a really scrawny small kid, especially going into freshman year of high school. I had not grown at all yet. I was still super, super small. And I came from a private middle school too, where we had a really small graduating class of like literally like 59 people. So like I went from a class class size of 59 people to going to this high school where my freshman class was like 1,200 people or something insane, or like 1,100 people. So like I was going from the most athletic kid, like was middle of the pack for like these really good athletes that were at my high school. Because I went to Norcross High School. They have a really good program.
Man, what kind of jump did you? Wait, you went to Norcross?
Yeah.
How'd you live, dog?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That's like, that's why I like you. It makes so much sense.
But Norcross actually like helped me a lot because it was so diverse, and and I was exposed to everything immediately. Yeah. Like I went from this tiny little sheltered bubble where all I knew was like these 60 white kids that like, like I said, as far as athletics go, the most athletic kids were kind of were good and stuff. Like they went on to play like high school football or whatever. But like for me, I was like this nerdy little kid playing tennis. So like, I just was not.
How did you make that happen?
Yeah, damn. Yeah. So
talk about adaptation.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I'm grateful for that experience for sure. Because like the first year was like a little bit rough. Like I was just being exposed to like so much stuff. Luckily, I made some good friends and stuff like that. But like I said, especially being in the PE classes, I was in with some kids that were like pretty rough around the edges. Like some kids that, they were, some kids had never been in a real weight room like that, but they were strong as hell because they were doing other stuff or whatever,
of course,
and beating people up and whatever, like
exactly.
doing some other stuff. But then there were some other kids that were like me. They were just kind of like, I've never really like stepped foot in here. But anyway, long story short, that Christmas break, during that semester, my brother had a friend that his parents went to Lifetime, and they kept bringing him and like, oh, let's go swim at Lifetime. And so my brother was always like, yo, mom and dad, let's get a membership at Lifetime. It's really cool. Like there's a pool, there's a rock wall, there's all this stuff. And so my parents were like, okay, maybe, we'll think about it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then as a Christmas present that year, we all got memberships to Lifetime.
That's so legit.
Yeah, I know. That was one of the coolest things.
So
like
cool.
that was so dope because we would go as a family. Like, and there's something to do for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, and actually during my high school years, I got super into rock climbing because of Lifetime too, which is weird. But like, it was like something fun to do. Like my parents wanted to work out longer than I did, so we'd go down to the rock wall and like hang out there.
Yeah, you got a basketball court, man.
Yeah.
I got it. I still got it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it was.
But anyways, going back to shitting on Lifetime. So Lifetime has way too many damn policies that are member hostile. Like, like they are policies put in place that are strictly to make Lifetime money and have no benefit to the customer.
Exactly. It's just rude, man. Like
it is rude.
And to me, it's like, if you love me, like I love fitness, but it's my outlet, right? But all I care about is just spreading mad love. If you love me, you're not gonna take my money. You want me to just be good and that's it. Don't try to take me in a room and talk about how I have to cancel my membership and try to retain me. If I can't do it because the membership is how much freaking money a month, I can't afford it. Just get it, or give me a freaking free month. Because the thing is, if you were to look at me and you were to say, okay, I understand you're going through something right now, you can't afford it, I get it. If anything, we'll put you on hold, right? Just whenever you come in, just ask for this person. Walk right upstairs, and we're Gucci. Because I understand that you're going through, like, I understand that you're going through something. CC was the person that taught me about empathy, and I know what it was until he spoke about it, and I realized when I could empathize with these people, it was like the reason why they hate it in that place is because they can't afford it. It's money. I wouldn't pay for my trip. I would never pay for my training unless I wasn't an athlete, because that's a lot of money. I mean, that's $89 an hour. Bro, who can afford that? Like you
gotta have that. That's the thing is Lifetime has really high prices. If we were in, obviously Johns Creek has a lot of money in it. Mm-hmm. The area that we were in, the gym that we were in, there's a lot of money there. But don't tell me when you have this, kid that's fresh out of college trying to just join a really good gym, and then you're trying to sucker him into all these training sessions and all. It's like, dude, this kid does not have the money for that.
And it killed me because the thing is, it changes the person inside. I realized that's one thing that's why I hated it, because I realized. So to show my whole situation with Lifetime and why I started hating it was because I was at the front desk. Obviously, you know that. And
which is like member services, you're dealing with members day to day kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And enforcing policies and stuff.
Yeah, but everyone, I wasn't even on that level. I was just the guy that scanned cars pretty much.
Yeah,
it wasn't that serious. I think I signed a membership, or I did the whatever little thing, the add on like once or twice ever. But the one thing that I did was I talked to every single member, and I knew their name. I knew them by name, and they knew me by name at this point, because like I said, me, you, Devin, Adam, we were friendly people, and people like us, right? So they knew us like that. Like if we saw them in the street now, they still be like, "Oh my gosh, how are you? Like, how are you?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I still work out there. Like I see these people all the time.
Exactly. And the thing is, the thing that killed me was it was this one member who I went from when I went from being at the desk to being a trainer. I called her phone, and I was trying to get her signed up for the 90-day challenge, and she was like, "Don't ever call me. Like, don't ever call me again. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, that's it." And hung up the phone. And I was like, okay, that was pretty much I mean, I've been rejected a lot, but I mean, that was a punch in the face, but it's cool. And then for the next 3 to 6 months, she didn't even look at me, like in the face. She wouldn't look at me. She'd walk right past me. And when she did look at me, she gave me the most stink look in the world. And it was just like, I don't like you as a person. And it was it was all because of the fact that I associated myself with being a trainer. And at that point, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I was being a trainer. I was just trying to do my job. I was just trying to be like, I was just trying to help someone and do my job. But I didn't realize that I was doing something that somebody hates and that she's been called for it every single year since the first time she's ever done it. And she's annoyed with their policies and that she can't afford it, obviously, whatever. But regardless, that broke me inside. Like I was like, yo, how did I go from being one of your favorite people to walk into the gym to see to being one of the most hated guys in your life? Like what did I do?
Yeah.
Like, all I do was put on a t-shirt. Like for real? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that, like I said, like that's the thing. Like that's what kills me. That's the problem with me in Lifetime. That's why if I was allowed to be myself and who I was as a trainer, then I would have either made a lot of money because I was just making a lot of money being a good person, or I would have made no money at all, just because of the fact that I was just I didn't care about the monetary. I cared about the person's health. I gave so many free. Look at her, she's getting crazy. My sister probably saw a bug. She definitely saw a bug. How are you so strong and so big? How can you be so strong and so big and be afraid of bugs? She kills me, dog. Shout out to Ariana, I love you, you wild ass woman. Anyway, but like, how can I sit there and try to just follow your policies and be what you want me to be, and because of that, I end up losing who I am as a character to somebody. Like, yeah, it was very hard to get anybody to talk to me that was a member for the first 3 months, because they were just like, nope, you're a new trainer trying to sell me on some shit. And I'm like, nah, like honestly, I just want to be, like, I don't care anymore. I just want to be your friend at this point. Like it's that bad, you know?
That's so true, man. Like, and the weird thing to me is I even have that. And like, I'm friends with trainers at Lifetime. Because like, to me, when I'm working out upstairs, a lot of times, like because the weird thing, man, you can tell people's vibes sometimes, like a lot 100%. Of times.
If you're a good person,
and
you got
if people are walking up to you and they got that money look in their eye, they're like looking at you like, they're like, oh, this guy's got a little bit wrong form. I could like help him out, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe I can funnel him into the system of him eventually paying me to train him or whatever. And I've been in those types of situations before. I was in a company a while ago. There was a network marketing company. So kind of like MLM. I don't know if you've heard, like everyone talks about like pyramid scheme kind of stuff where it's like, oh yeah, man, just sign up under me and then you'll get a couple other people.
Somebody else.
Yeah. And I was in one of those companies for like 2 years. Dang. So, and I made money in it. Like I was in one of those types of companies. There's good ones, there's bad ones. I was in one that wasn't necessarily the best company in the world, but it was a good company. Like the main thing
though, sales though.
Is exactly. And I believed in the products. And the biggest thing, I've talked about this like ad nauseum on a few other podcasts, so I won't get too into it. But the biggest thing is that I went all out on a dream. Like I was like, this is my way out. This is like the thing. So burn the bridges. I'm just gonna freaking go at this. And if people don't want to be friends with me because I'm trying to like get them on board with this thing, then so be it. I guess they won't be. They're not my real friend, Yeah, and so like the weird thing is these products were really good. It was a health and wellness company, and the products were amazing. Like I was literally using the products. I loved them. So when I approached somebody, yes, I was trying to make money because I wanted them to join my team. But at the end of the day, I also wanted them to enjoy the products. And also at the other end, I wanted them to come on this journey and for them to make money as well.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of flawed logic in it because obviously everyone in the company can't make money. That's the biggest problem, is because at the end of the day, it's not about selling this product. It's about everyone jumping on board and trying to make money together. And when everyone is in the same company all trying to make money together and everyone's just like in this system and there's no outsiders like buying the product except for people that are in the company, it's like a giant black hole and no one makes money, right? It's like a revolving door. Yeah. Like everyone's constantly in and out. Like, oh, cool, there's an opportunity here. Oh, wait, I didn't make money my first month. I'm leaving. Oh, cool, opportunity. And I was one of the people that stuck it out, so it was hard for me when I quit. But I totally can sympathize with what you're saying because you're walking up to someone like, yo, I'm trying to be your friend, like whatever. But since they already know you're the trainer, or maybe someone else like mentioned to them like, oh yeah, Anthony talked to me, he wants me to like train him or whatever, whatever it might be. They already had this preconceived notion that you're trying to sell something. So they have all their blinders on immediately and they're just like, nope, not talking to you. Exactly. And so like people will get known, the company I was in was called Vima, and people will get known as being the Vima guy. Yeah. And so as soon as you would approach someone you didn't know, they're like, no, I already know you're the Vima guy. I'm not going to talk to you.
Oh my God.
And there was people that were, they honestly meant well, I think, like especially on college campuses and stuff, they would go around spreading the negative word of Vima. They would go around because they're like, these people are trying to scam you out of their money. So they took it as like like a religion almost. Like, don't listen to this guy. He's trying to suck you into his cult or whatever, So they were going around preaching the anti-Vima, and we were going around trying to like show people like, yo, there's an opportunity. If you want to take it seriously, you can make money. But obviously it's going to be a little bit hard. But anyways, I can totally empathize with what you're saying.
I mean, that's because, I mean, a lot of it is perspective, man. Like people, the way that I walked up to people was I looked at them and I said, okay, you're rounding your back on your deadlift. Let me fix this and make your back flat so you can do it properly and then, take it on to your regular daily life. While somebody else will look at them and be like, oh, shoot. Oh, I see this. This is money, right? So, I mean, technically, they're looking at it the same way that we are. Some people would still be like, oh, I'll listen to you. I'll work with you right now, but I don't want to buy your training. But I mean, I'll definitely listen to what you're saying right now and work with you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So some people actually do understand and they do care. And they do want the help.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's like Gary Vee, bro. Like Gary Vee always talks about the jab, 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 right hook. Yeah. It's like Gary Vee literally will unashamedly say this. He says, I'm going to give you so much free value that I will guilt you into buying my books.
That is the best thing I have heard in so long. That's so true.
It's like, dude, I'm going to give you so much free training when you're at the gym. I'm going to come up and help you with whatever. I'm going to give you so much free stuff that you're going to feel guilty about me giving you so much free stuff. Like, that's how I want this podcast to be, bro. Like, I want to pump out like 100 episodes and be like, yo, enjoy all this. And then once 100 hits, I'm going to be like, yo, if you have been listening thus far, either support me by in some way. Either maybe we'll do a crowdfunding type of thing where like, yo, you could literally donate like $1 a month and that will help me out. You know, if you're liking the value, if you appreciate this, if you're getting entertainment, if you like listening to this podcast on a weekly basis or whatever it might be, how much value is that? How much monetary value would you put on that? Would you consider donating or whatever it might be? Or maybe if people are not down with that, maybe I'll do ads and read ads that related to whatever.
Shoot, man.
But that's what I want to do right now is put out as much free value as possible. Because I haven't made a single dime off this podcast, but I've put in lots of hours.
Oh, and that's one thing I realized. That's what life is for anything that as entrepreneur, that's what life is.
Totally.
And that sucks, man. You go in the negative so much compared to the positives when you first start off. But like I said, the way your mindset works, it's perfect. It's a good thing. Like people like I and your friends obviously who listen to this and who are on this, they value your time and they want to be around you. That's all that matters, right? Anybody that values you are gonna help you. That's it. Simple as that. And that's why I realized like for me in training, that's where it comes down to. I go, okay, listen, I'll give you a free month of programming. I'll have you do this because of my life. Because I mean. Come on, like I got a grandma with Alzheimer's and dementia. She's crazy as frick. I gotta help her out whenever my mom needs help. I'm in school full time. I obviously own a business, right? And I'm also doing I also have a part-time job. I work at Kroger. I'm the fuel center guy. Like, so I'm always doing something. So my time is important, right?
Totally.
So because of that, yes, I do. Sometimes I will take monetary, and I will as much as I can because I think when it comes down to it, I still have to pay the bills.
Oh,
I still
totally.
have to do those things. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But I can't. Because of how much I value myself and how much you value me, most likely you're going to still want to pay for me because of the fact that you value me that much.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's the problem with Lifetime is people, they don't ever quit because they don't like the gym. They quit because the gym is not giving them the value that they're expecting.
Exactly.
Or the trainer is not. If I'm going to be paying you $90 an hour, I better damn be getting $90 worth of value.
Bro, we better be fucking best friends and like something, Eskimo bro or something. We should listen. we should be something, bro. If I'm paying you, listen, mind you now, that's if you're like a regular person, right? So me, I only have an NACM cert right now, and when I get my degree in the next year, that's when my rate would go up. And your rate automatically goes up to, I think when you have a degree, it counts for 3 certifications or whatever, and you automatically go up to 110. There's a guy in there that charges $150 a month. I'm sorry, $150 a session, right?
Wow.
And it's like, bro, listen, first of all, I know you wouldn't pay for that shit. So why would you charge somebody else that? You're not empathizing at all. You're being a dick.
Exactly. That's how I view it, man. Like that's why right now I'm not even pursuing trying to make money with the podcast right now, something like that, because I'm like, yo, to be honest, if I was a listener, I don't know how much I would be, willing to like share or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like, that's the same thing that happens with tons of people with their products. Like if they're an entrepreneur or whatever, or if they're a salesman, that's why I could not be a Lifetime salesman. Like I could not be on the sales team at Lifetime.
Yeah.
Because you're like showing them all this value and stuff, but you know that at the end of the day, like 90% of it is gonna fall short of what their expectations are.
It's so sad. It's so true.
It sucks. But like at the end of the day, most of the people that are at Lifetime, like this is how I view the value of Lifetime. It's got a lot of equipment and not as many members as LA. So you can pretty much jump on any equipment you want at any point. You never have to wait, really, unless you're there at like 5, 6 p.m. Sometimes. But a lot of the times, especially if you're using equipment that the majority of people aren't using, it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
The other thing I like Lifetime for is it's pretty convenient for me. Like there's a few locations that are like located near here, so like I can go to whatever. And then the best thing is the locker room and the shower facility area.
Damn right.
Like you've got towel service, you've got a lockable locker, and you've got showers, sauna, all that. So like if you're trying to go to the gym then go somewhere, it's not a hassle. Like obviously other gyms have showers and stuff too.
But it's not like that.
But it's nice. Like you don't feel like I'd rather go home. Like I don't mind showering at Lifetime. Sometimes I'd actually prefer it.
I mean, there were times that because of how my work schedule was, I would just, I lived a Lifetime almost.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, like, it's pretty easy. I mean, you got the food, I used a spa one time just to get a massage. But besides that, I mean, you have the sauna, you have the steam room, you have the showers, you have the workout upstairs, and if you have food with you, unless you want to buy the food from the cafe, you pretty much, you can live there.
Bro.
You know what I mean?
You know what? I was talking with somebody that I worked with there at one point about. We were talking about why the hell does Lifetime not make a hotel connected to it?
Seriously?
Because it's a resort.
Yes! Oh, that's business idea. That's
Dude, like literally, bro. Like it doesn't even have to be massive, but there's like all the time at the front desk there would be people coming up. They were on business trips and stuff. They're like, "Yo, I'm staying at a hotel right around the corner, and I don't want to use the crappy gym. Like, how much does it cost?" And Lifetime's like, "That'll be $30." And it's like for a one-day pass, $30. Are you joking? That's just straight up mean.
Yeah,
like I understand that. Like, yeah, they want you to be a member, and we don't have to give anybody access unless they're a member. I get that as a private club. I understand. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But it's like if someone had the choice between a Hyatt where they got the little tiny gym or a Lifetime hotel. You've already got, number one, ops that does like folding towels and stuff like that.
Everything.
So they could do that's basically like the housekeeping staff. Like obviously you expand that. You build a building behind it that just connects to the Lifetime. And to get to the hotel area, you got to swipe a certain card or whatever. And then you make the Life Cafe like a little bit bigger and have breakfast or something.
Hey, for all you people that actually like go to Lifetime or pay for Lifetime or support Lifetime or you're whatever, if you're, I forgot his name. If you own Lifetime right now,
the dude that owns Lifetime, if you're listening to this,
don't you dare make this happen and not give Andrew money. That's a damn good idea. that is a damn good idea. Honest to God, I feel like that'd be better for them because it would show they're just this place with amenities and it's just a luxury.
Exactly, it's a resort.
It's exactly. It's
a resort.
A luxury and it's a resort. That's it. And it's fine.
And like, don't get me wrong, the facility is gorgeous. The equipment is great. Like all that kind of stuff. But it's just like most people don't need all of that.
Oh, not at all.
They don't need all of that. Like as a member, I don't need the child center, but that's included in my membership. I don't have a child.
Yeah, like.
Like, why am I paying for that? I understand that it would be kind of mean for people. Like, okay, yeah, sorry, since you got a child, you got to pay more.
Yeah.
Even on top of the child rate. But, I mean, it's like taxes. It's like.
But you chose to. You had a kid. It's your baby.
Yeah, exactly.
You could just leave them at home with babysitter or whatever. You chose to bring them.
Exactly.
So that's fine.
It's a luxury to be able to bring your kid to the gym. Like, most gyms do not have childcare.
Yeah, man. Like, that's exactly. So that's a good thing. Like, for you. But it's, think about, once again, empathize for everybody, not just yourself. I mean, it's a good thing to have, but it's not. It doesn't help, like you said, us at all.
Yeah.
You have kids.
And I'd be curious to know their profit margins, man. Like they got to be making tons of money. Like I understand that building takes so much money to run and all that, but I think also they could take away certain programs that no one gives a shit about and make the membership cheaper. Yeah. And like I don't know. But anyways, we can go off the subject of shitting on Lifetime, but
yeah, man. F y'all though. Anyway, regardless. But yeah, no. Actually, I was gonna come back because when you were talking about high school, it's funny. The situation of me moving from Queens, New York. I mean, dude, Queens, New York, Suwanee, Georgia.
Like totally different.
It just sounds different, right?
Oh, yeah.
My first address was what, 134-12 precinct sounding, right? And then my next one was what, 38 something Magnolia Lane. Like, it sounds awesome. You know what I mean? The switch up from going from there to here was insane, and it was like, how do I conform to be racist a little bit to all these white people? Like, it was weird, dude. Like, honest to God, I didn't. It was confusing, and it's funny because my best friend in New York, he's white, but you don't have that many people that are walking around that are white around there. And now the weird thing about Suwanee is, and I mean, it's cool. But
isn't Queens a little bit different now? Like, even in most recent years, like, it's kind of changed a bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a whole lot. Because when I moved back, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
but 10 years is, like, in perspective of New York, it's not that much. But, like, to us, 10 years, obviously a ton can change.
Oh yeah. But
definitely. I've heard, like, New York is, like, changing so much.
New York doesn't stop changing. And the funny thing is, I know, and when I first moved here, I already said it to myself. I was like, Atlanta's turning into New York. The first day I walked into Atlanta, I was like, I can almost guarantee you this will be the exact same way. It'll be populated the exact same way. It's going to be the exact same thing. Prices are going to go up high because it's like, to me, the environment's there. When I walk around Atlanta, I feel like I'm at home sometimes because I feel like it's almost the same thing. I mean, the subway, obviously, all that.
New Yorkers everywhere are screaming, "No, it's not. Like, New York is different,
man. Fuck you." but like low key, it's almost the same, and I can almost guarantee you, another 10 years rolls by, we'll be on the same level.
Atlanta's on the rise,
yeah,
and population's increasing in the city for sure.
Yeah, but then New York will be where New York is, and then Atlanta will be like obviously behind it, but it's going that route, and that's good. But like I said, like it's interesting because it's just so different. And now you have in Suwanee alone, at least and Johns Creek actually, everyone's starting to become a lot more Asian and Indian. And
totally.
I had some clients who were like really mad about it. And I was like, they're people, bro. Calm down. Like they're first of all, it's not my fault that someone said, "Oh shit, we can make a living here and make some good money in America and over in this area." Like that's like, don't be mad at them because they saw an opportunity.
It's like gentrification, and like people people get mad about all that, but it's like, bro, gentrification is not some like thing controlled by the man to try to get like minorities out of an area.
Thank you.
And it's like literally in Johns Creek, there is somewhat of a gentrification of white people.
Yes.
Like there is. Like,
it is what it is, bro.
And I'm not mad about it.
It's cool, man. Yeah, of course I went to Norcross, bro. Of course you're not. Of course you're not.
Norcross didn't have that many Asian and Indian people though.
No.
It was like this is the breakdown of Norcross. It was like 30% black, 30% Hispanic, 30% white, and then 10% Asian Indian. Like it was very, very diverse.
Yeah, at North Gwinnett, it was pretty much down the middle between blacks and whites, small amount of Indian, and then Asian. Like so many Asians. But it was cool with me because it made our school look smart as hell because they were smart as fuck. And I think it's like, and I'm not saying you can't be smart if you're not Asian. All I'm saying is they happen to have a culture where they work a lot harder than most people that are around us for what they want.
And it's not even that they want to work harder. It's a lot of times in the Asian culture and even just immigrant culture in general, the parents are a lot harder on you to make good grades.
Yes.
And especially if you are somebody that moved to America not out of necessity but out of, hey, we can make a lot of money here, and you are making a lot of money there, you want your kids to be successful too. And chances are the way that you were raised, you had to make good grades in order to be successful, so you're going to translate that to your own kids here.
Sociology, bro. That's all it is. It's like the whole, we can't even like get into that, but the whole like being born gay thing. That blew, like that's one thing that kind of is the same thing. It's being born quote unquote gay and being born quote unquote smart is the same thing on the low. Yes, some people have a different kind of genetic where their brain works a little bit differently, right? So that's genes. I get that.
It's like predisposition.
That's all it is.
Nature versus nurture.
That's all it is. That's all it is, bro. It's sociology, nature versus nurture. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. If you get born and you are, and if you're born and raised to think a certain thing, bro. I know, right?
I was never born, bro. I just popped out of here.
Right. I just popped up in this random
I was an alien.
world. I got dropped.
I was hatched.
Definitely.
Oh gosh.
Honestly, no. But see, now do you believe in aliens?
A little bit.
Really?
I think this is the thing about aliens is it's the same thing about like being an atheist.
Oh.
If you're an atheist,
About to get into real good talk.
if you're an atheist, you're saying there is no God.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, how are you so goddamn sure?
What's your faith?
I would say I grew up a Christian. My family's Christian. I still hold very like traditional Christian values. Mm-hmm. Right now I'm at a weird point in my life where like I'm not 100% sure of where of what exactly I believe, because I grew up reading the Bible in Bible class. I went to a private middle school, all this stuff. So I've been growing up and all this stuff, and I was grown up to read the Bible literally. Like Noah was on the ark and he brought all these animals. And as I grow older, like all these stories are slightly preposterous. It's like a lot of these stories, you're like, wait a second, hold up now. You're saying, wait, what? Adam and Eve, if there was just Adam and Eve, how did the other people were they? You're
lying. Also all related?
Wait, you were having sex with your brother? Like, all these weird stuff.
Shit.
And like once you grow older, you start asking all these questions, right? And so a lot of people will write off religion as, well, the Bible's just a collection of all these dumb stories that don't mean anything, and all these Christians are idiots. And then there's another group of people that say, well, this religion's been around a long time. Obviously, there's truth to it, so I'm going to keep believing it. My dad was a Christian, my grandma was a Christian, all this stuff, and so like I'm going to keep that faith.
Yeah.
And it's like I believe that if I grew up in Iraq, chances are I'm going to be a Muslim.
There you go.
Like I would not just be like I was predispositioned to be a Christian, like all growing up over there. I wouldn't be like, I don't know about this Muslim shit. I think Jesus is the real. You know what I mean? Like I would not be it was all about nurture, like 100%. I was not born predispositioned to be a Christian, but because of the way I was raised in a Christian household. I went to a Christian church, went to church all my life. I went to church this morning, and literally like so all of that is huge in like your upbringing. And I was listening to this podcast recently, and I've been listening to this lecture series actually by this guy named Jordan Peterson. He's a clinical psychologist, and he's been doing this whole series on stories of the Bible and why they are important to culture and why you shouldn't just write these stories off as nonsense. He's like, you shouldn't take them literally in the sense of this stuff all actually happened, but you should take it in the sense of there are lessons to be learned here, and there are grave dangers to not paying attention to the lessons being learned. But the weird thing that I learned from this podcast that I was listening to with this guy recently is he was talking about this idea of literal truth and metaphorical truth. I think this is what he was talking about. And the example he gave was, you tell a kid that strangers are dangerous. This isn't actually the example he gave. I just came up with this. Strangers are dangerous because they could kidnap you. 99% of strangers are not gonna do anything, right? Like most people that you interact with, if they walk up to a little kid, they're gonna be like, "Yo, what's up, dude?"
That's it.
All this stuff. And so if you teach kids to be scared of strangers, number one, they're safer because they're not gonna interact with someone who could be potentially dangerous. But like, that's metaphorical truth. It's not actually true because not all strangers are dangerous. Most people are nice people. The example that he gave was, you tell a kid that porcupines can shoot their quills at you, and when in reality porcupines can't do that. They actually can't shoot their quills at you, but the quills are very dangerous. If you get close to a porcupine and he rubs up against you, he comes up at you and pokes you. The quills actually are designed like at a microscopic level to dig deeper and deeper into your skin and all this crazy stuff. So if you tell a kid, hey, porcupines can actually shoot their quills at you, so stay really far away from them, they are actually predisposed, like they, just by knowing that, they are technically safer than someone who knows that they can't shoot their quills, but still knows they're dangerous because they're gonna stay way farther away. Or whatever. So it's like, if you tell these people all these Bible stories and all this stuff, like, they're gonna get knowledge. Like the stories of Jesus, like the way that he interacted with people, love your neighbor as yourself, treat others better than yourself, all that kind of stuff. If you think that's literal and act that way, you're gonna be better off, and society will be better off. But if you say, nah, that's nonsense, and I'm gonna act completely different, that's worse. But if you can look at it objectively and be like, the stories of Jesus, who knows if this guy actually existed? Who knows if God sent his son to save our sins? Who knows if all this stuff actually happened? Yeah. But if I was to act like Jesus, like WWJD, what would Jesus do? If I was to act like how Jesus wanted me to act, I think I'm better off for society, and I think I'm better off as a person, regardless of if heaven exists or not. I hope it does, because that'd be cool. But if it doesn't, I think I'm going to leave a better mark on society and as a planet if I do believe in the biblical stories and Jesus, or if I was an atheist and said nothing matters, God does not exist.
Yeah. See, I like that. I like that a lot. See, you're kind of like where I am in a way. So I was born Catholic. I was raised Catholic, right? And the way that they looked at me, pretty much, well, the story of my birth from my grandma's perspective, apparently, was my mom was going through labor for 26 hours.
Whoa.
And within that last hour, my grandma walked in, gave her a rosary, and it was a St. Anthony pendant. And my mom held it, and they said, and all of a sudden I popped out. I was just like, let me go, and I ran out. And
what,
all
St.
of a sudden,
Anthony?
Yeah, and they're like, his name's Anthony now, so that's how I became Anthony, right? Whatever. So that my grandma is huge on the Catholicism, and that's great and everything else. But when it comes down to it, I've just the longer that I've lived, the more that I've just, like you said, just kind of I haven't conformed to the world at all. I've just conformed to believing that everyone has their own belief. That's fine with me, but I guarantee you, once we all die, I know something's out there. I have this, like, the reason why I have the 777 kid thing. The reason why I did that for my Instagram is because, like, the number 777 holds very true to my life, because for some reason it's very, it's prominent. It's there. Do you believe in signs?
Signs?
Yeah.
Like seeing things and
Yeah.
like, oh snap, that's a sign?
Yeah.
Kind of. Like I feel like, I don't know, explain yourself though. And
Okay.
I kind of do.
So
my
me,
mom is like that. She sees stuff like that. It's her birthday number. She always sees her birthday numbers everywhere.
Okay. So for me, I see 777, and I even got it tattooed, like, because I was just like, dude, this is becoming too weird. My life started having a lot more 777s, and maybe it's just because I noticed it more. I don't know, but I realized that for some reason, whenever it shows up, usually there's some kind of good behind it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was scrolling on your podcast, and one of the guys you had on there had a 777 at the end of his name or his handle, and I was like, this is a good sign. I need to do this. And this is a good thing. When I was driving back, when I had this whole thing with today, trying to get back here, I was like, okay, something or someone is trying to stop me from doing this podcast for some reason, and I started getting aggravated and getting mad, because I'm trying to get home, right?
And you were lost.
Yeah, and literally it's just I saw 777, and I'm like, okay, this is for a reason. This is happening for a reason. This is okay. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, it's my calming place. But anyway, so faith-wise, I put my belief in whatever, whether it's he or she or it or whatever it is that's out there, and all I know is that for me, they have my back, and I believe in them. And at the end of the day, all they want is for all of us to come together as a people and love each other. Because if we can all just believe, because the thing is, like, I mean, what is God to our religion? Somebody or something or some group of things that all dictate how we live and how we should live our lives, right? That's fine. That's okay. But at the end of the day, it's always some kind of positive thing. As long as you're staying positive, as long as you're going to the right direction, that's all I really care about. So you can believe in Buddhism, or you can believe in Hinduism, you can believe in like you can be a Catholic, whatever. The only thing I don't like is not believing in something, period. You know what I mean? Like, atheist, to me being atheist is funny, because it's like you believe in not believing in something. So when things get hard, what do you put your faith in, or what do you like relax on? What keeps you sane when things are getting really bad? You know what I mean? Because for me, my life, I mean, with growing up, my life was really weird with my mom and my dad. There was a lot of domestic violence in the house and everything else, and it was just like, when does this stop? When is this gonna end? And all I could do was just turn to my quote unquote God, and that was it, right? But it was my relief. It was my positive place. It's where I went to. It was there for me, and that's all I care about. So at the end of the day, whether you can be any religion, I can almost guarantee you, though, at the end of the day, when we all die or whatever, I feel like there's definitely somewhere we can all go. I don't feel like the one thing that I do agree with the Bible is the fact that I feel like hell is kind of somewhat on earth. I don't believe in there being a real hell. I feel like the devil is like this. I feel like the devil's more of a more bad energy than it is good energy. That's all it is. You know what I mean? So to me, as long as you can keep more good energy, or God, or whatever you want to call it, then you'll go towards the right direction and you'll get to where you want to go, aka your heaven. You know what I mean? Like, I can say in the weirdest way, when I was 15 years old, I had this vision that heaven was a place where me and God hung out and we bench pressed, right?
Yeah.
And that's how my heaven was. I literally picture, like, I picture just a white place or whatever where it's just there's nothing there, and when God says, "Oh, I want to pop up this random thing," then it's popped up and it's there. I that's what I picture, but nothing to the extent of whatever every religion says. I just know that whatever we're going to, it's something good. That's all I care about. And as long as everyone that I love in this world, 'cause I love everybody in this world, goes there and they can be happy and live a peaceful, happy life, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I totally feel you. Yeah, the weird thing about I've actually been wanting to talk about religion for a while on the podcast because I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast before, but I've had some recent new ideas that I want to share. And like one thing that I got into, like this is kind of weirdly off topic, but on my Facebook recently, I posted this very controversial status. Did you happen to see it?
Wait, the one, I'm almost positive I did. Yeah, what was it about?
About circumcision?
Yeah, dude, listen, all I wanted to say on that post was, I like my dick, so that's all that matters. Like, that's honest
Love
to God.
your own dick. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's the thing too, is we don't need to go into that post because I'm trying to make a bigger point here.
Yeah.
But my main thing about it was, okay, yes, if you're circumcised or not, your parents made a decision at birth. If they made the decision to circumcise you, they were doing it not because they wanted you to have less of your dick.
Yeah.
They were doing it because they thought that was best for you. There's obviously there's a health aspect of it. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a foreskin, your foreskin can't get infected. That's just the bottom line. If you cut off your pinky can never get infected. That's just the bottom line. If you cut off your boobs, you'll never have breast cancer. If you cut off your dick, you'll never, like all these things. Like, yes, obviously, if you perform something on someone, that part of them is less likely to get infected because it's not there. Yes. The main point I was trying to make was it was hilarious how many people, and the post was like this bus that had a picture of all these dudes saying I was genital mutilation, I did not consent, all this stuff. I do not feel that way about my circumcision. I do not care.
All right.
I am not feeling that way like, wow, my parents really violated my sexual rights right off the bat. Wow, that was fucked up of them. But my main thing is like, now we live in the 21st century where it's like, we have a lot more knowledge of all this stuff. Back in the day in religion, when they were circumcising people, it was because they did not have clean water. It was because they did not shower every day. They didn't, it became religious, but I feel like it was almost because they were like, okay, if you want to be in our thing, we don't want diseases spreading. How about we just cut off the foreskin right off the bat, and then we don't have to worry about foreskin about all these diseases spreading in our community. And then it became really religious. It was like, okay, everyone in our religion just has these, everyone's circumcised or whatever. Yeah. But like 60% of the world is uncircumcised. Like, and you don't hear about 60% of the world all the time their dick getting infected. Like, especially in Europe and stuff. It's very uncommon for that to happen. So my main point was like, all these people were coming out of the woodwork in support of it, in the fact that it's a tradition, it's religion, all this stuff, and it's like, I think when I have a kid, I'm probably not gonna do it, because I don't know, it's just like weird to me, like,
yeah.
On one hand, yes, it could get infected one day, but at the same time, like, I'm gonna trust that I'm gonna teach my kid good hygiene and teach him to clean it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna give him that. Yeah, exactly. Like taking a shower and washing your dick. Like, just come on, man. Come on, bro. And like and that's another thing. It's about like STD stuff. I'm gonna teach my kid to try to not sleep around and be a man whore.
Yeah.
Because like, that's another thing. It's a whole other issue. But anyways, the idea that people were defending it based on whether like, oh, this is very important to a lot of people, is religion. That was one of the biggest issues. That was one of the biggest issues coming up all the time. And my biggest, this was the weirdest thing to me. So I'm like, okay, let's back it up. What is a religion? It's like a set of beliefs that you put your faith in, right? Mm-hmm. You say, this is what I believe. If my religion, a lot of people say religion comes from God, right? But it was written down by humans. Humans are flawed.
Exactly.
And humans also, when given power, they manipulate their power.
Yes.
And that's just a given. That's just a given. That's why you hear about pedophile priests. That's why you hear about all kinds of messed up stuff in the church, especially with little kids and all this kind of weird stuff. It's a fact that whenever you give someone power, there's going to be someone that abuses their power. So if you give someone the power to write the Bible, or write things into the religion that weren't in the Bible or whatever it might be, you got to question that. Like, just because it's stuck around doesn't mean it's necessarily right. So at the end of the day, religion is like these set of beliefs that someone, kind of made up. Obviously, like part of it, you could say came from God or whatever, and like I had divine intervention, whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, it's an idea that someone came up with and said, okay, we're all going to agree upon this.
Yeah.
If I was to say, okay, now my religion is to cut off my baby's dick at birth, just the whole thing. Dicks get infected all the time. They can create, I don't want my kid to have babies anyway, so I'm just going to cut it off.
Yeah.
Everyone would be freaking out. Everyone would be like, no, bro. And I'd be like, bro, it's my religion, bro.
Exactly.
And they'd be like, well, no, but that's not a religion. No one else believes in it. Mm-hmm. But the only reason why a religion is a religion is because someone came up with the idea and got other people to believe in it, and it has been around for a while. So if you really boil it back down, it's like a religion is simply just an idea that's been agreed upon by a lot of people. There's a lot of really bad ideas that are agreed upon by a lot of different people.
Damn truth.
And so it's like, you can't make that argument that this is important to people's religion, because religion simply is an idea that was made up by one person that a lot of people eventually agreed upon. Just because that was an idea that a lot of people agreed upon does not make that idea a good or a bad idea.
Yeah. Granted,
there definitely are health reasons why you would want to be circumcised, but there's also reasons why you might not want to do it.
Yeah.
Either way, doesn't matter. That issue is not the point. But we were talking about was religion, and that's the weird thing about religion. Is like Joe Rogan made a joke about like, what's the difference between a cult and a religion? In a cult, some guy makes up a whole bunch of ideas and get a whole bunch of people to believe in them, right?
Yeah.
In a religion, that dude is dead.
I fucking love Joe Rogan.
And that's what he says. Is like, but it's true, right? Like that's what's kind of weird. Is like, how do we know what religion is right or wrong? Like, I'm more predisposition to be a Christian because that's what like I grew up on. Mm-hmm. That's what my parents are and all that. And you could argue like, how do you know it's true? Well, in the Bible, like in Christianity, like there's a savior and he came to save your sins. In a lot of other religions, there's not that kind of figure. We're all still flawed. How are we going to know we're not going to heaven and hell? All this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like there's a lot of parallels between religions. There's a lot of similar stories in Buddhism that are similar in Christianity. There's a lot of similar stories in Islam that are similar in Christianity. Like lots of parallel lines line up. Why could that be? Maybe because these are just truths that are important for humanity in general that we should all be embracing as a whole. Yes. We shouldn't be fighting between religions like, circumcision is right or wrong. Like, because at the end of the day, it's kind of a petty issue. Like, I'm comfortable with my dick. Like, it's circumcised and it's cool.
Matters.
The main thing is that I've heard brought up is there are a lot of botched circumcisions that happen at birth where people's dicks are disfigured for the rest of their life, or whatever. And so that's why, for me, I'm probably not going to do it, like, when I have a kid. And another thing is, like, well, I had it, and so, like, it never got messed up for me. Yeah. But it's like, you never know. That doctor is, like, slicing your baby's dick. He could easily, like, accidentally slice something else. Or, like, accidentally cut too much. And, like, it could stunt growth. A lot of people have very painful erections because they had too much cut off at birth or whatever. Damn. All this kind of weird stuff, but you don't hear about it because it's taboo, right? Yeah. You don't hear about all these people complaining about their painful erections because it's not very fun to talk about. But it's a real thing. It's a real thing. And it's a real medical issue. I did not but you don't hear about it because it's so normalized in America.
Oh my god.
It's weird, right?
That's nuts.
Yeah.
But see, like, to me, it's like, so look, because of what you said, I will not circumcise my child.
Yeah.
But it's just because of the fact that I'm giving you the choice. It's your choice. If I could do it again, if I was born and I was be like, my dick is not circumcised, I'd probably still do it just because I wanted to, but it's my choice though, so it's okay.
And you're comfortable with that, which is great, which is super awesome. And like, that's the thing, is like a lot of people are talking about this as like, people are literally screaming right now. They're like, why are you guys still talking about this? This is such a dumb issue. We should be talking about the rampant systematic racism in America. Why are you talking about foreskin on these stupid dicks? But it's like, it's a trivial issue, but it touches upon a lot of other issues where it's like, these other issues are important for us to understand each other and understand culture and all that, which all kind of boil back down to a lot of these other issues.
It's all connected. But
yeah, that's the thing, is like, my thing is circumcision is unnecessary, and a lot of times it can go bad. Most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time everyone's dick is fine. Everyone's comfortable with their dick. Okay. But sometimes it can go wrong. And at the end of the day, I want to give my kid, I'm going to give him the choice if he wants to modify his body in that way. Obviously, it'll suck because he'll remember it, and obviously it'll be painful, and obviously when it's fully grown, it's a lot more bigger of a procedure. But I'm going to leave his body how nature intended, how quote unquote God intended. So I'm just going to leave it. Like I'm not going to intervene because I don't believe in any kind of like weird thing where like, yo, we're in this secret club where all of our dicks are cut. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. It's like, yo, that's important to my religion. Why is it important to your religion that everyone in your religion has a cut dick? Like that's the weirdest fucked up thing ever.
That
like,
is hilarious.
yo, you can join our club, but
if
you gotta cut your dick. You know, like that's just freaking hilarious.
But that's bro, that's so true though. It's so true though.
Like, why does that matter? How often are you showing people your dick that they would even know?
I mean, if you're
like,
a hoe, it's cool, bro. But I mean, still, man.
It's like you're
only you gotta live with it, man. Not me. I don't gotta like. Listen, if we're all in the same club, that's fine. I'm not looking at your dick. I'm like football locker rooms are the most terrifying situation. Cause I like my penis, nobody else's. I'm sorry, bro. That's it. I'm gonna look up. Do you, baby? Do you? Yeah. That's it.
Like lifetime locker room. It's like
dog.
Okay,
no, dude. I'm sorry. Lifetime's locker room. Every single old man gets it because they're just like, I don't give a fuck. This is my dick. I'm walking around.
Exactly.
You think I care about what you like? Look at it, nigga. Like, golly.
Exactly.
But yeah, bro. Like, it's nuts, dog. Like, they don't care at all.
Exactly.
It blows my mind.
Exactly.
It blows my mind.
This is my last thing I want to say about the circumcision thing because this is a point that I wanted to talk about.
We talked about dicks for 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But that I didn't go super into is if the roles were reversed. Okay, I'm gonna get kind of graphic here. So if you don't like listening to this, then turn it off. But okay, if the roles were reversed, because I've heard females on Facebook, like, because this is what sparked me posting that, because I saw a thread of females or women, people get mad when you say female sometimes. Women. I saw these women talking about it on Facebook, and they were literally making jokes like, haha, why would I want my son to have an ugly ass little turtleneck dick?
Oh,
or like,
my god.
Or like, haha, why would I want that gross ass little foreskin on there anyways? Who the fuck wants their foreskin?
That's so mean.
And so that's so mean because we're talking all about like body positivity, the women's movement. There's literally so many movements that are like, your vagina's not weird. Every vagina is different. All vaginas look different. Exactly. But yet at birth, we're like, I don't want my son to be made fun of in the locker room for having a weird dick. Let's cut it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if at birth, females, if we took little girls and cut their like inner vagina lips so that everyone had a smooth one and there was nothing hanging out. Granted, the vagina's still gonna work the exact same, but you're gonna lose sensitivity.
Are you saying like cutting the clit off?
Not cutting the clit off. Just cutting like the like you know, okay, like I said, I'm gonna get graphic.
You're gonna get graphic with vagina.
Sometimes there is external meat hanging out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. That's what you're saying right now, bro. Yeah, that makes. I mean,
if we were to say, well, to join our little club, you gotta cut those off. That'd be messed up, yo.
That'd be so rude.
It'd be so rude.
But body positivity, like body positivity right now is just so like excessive.
Mm-hmm.
Like okay.
Let's take it a different way because as a trainer, I'm sure you're hearing that kind of stuff all the time.
Dude,
let's stop talking about dicks.
The situation,
and vaginas.
yeah, right. The situation of like it's okay to be overweight, obese. To me, the reason why I worked out is because I was sad, I had low self-esteem, and I was an angry person. I wanted to work out. I needed to get I needed to find an outlet to get my anger or whatever out. All right, that's it. Okay. I also realized that through the movement, it provided me with good health. Right. I want everyone to live long. If stats say that the more you weigh, the harder your heart works, and that means most likely your heart rate's higher, right? So most likely you die faster than the average person, then okay. I don't want you to die early. So I don't care if you look good, I care about how you function. And I know that if you're overweight and you're obese, and if you're excessively obese, most likely you're not functioning in a functional way. That's it.
What technically is obese? I don't know if you know the numbers, but
people say, I want to say,
because there's a difference between like people say morbidly obese and obese.
So BMI is where it all comes down to. If you're over 25% or whatever BMI, then you're overweight. If you're over 30, 35, or I guess whatever higher.
Is 25% fat or is it different? Because BMI.
It's body mass. It's how much muscle you have. Yeah. So it's how much muscle you have on your body compared to how much like fat you hold, pretty much. But it's a weird place.
So like a power lifter, like those big fat strong dudes, like they might have a lower BMI because in addition to their fat, they also have a lot of muscle.
Yeah, but the thing is, at the end of the day, they don't do it off the fat, they do it off the weight. So I'm sorry, no, it's a ratio between how tall you are to how much weight you carry.
Okay.
And so like for me, the dog, oh my gosh, one of the funniest moments in my life was when I walked into a doctor's office and this man said to me, "Bro, you're overweight. You're obese. You need to start dieting and exercising." And I was like, "I can make my boobs move, bro." Like,
Someone told you that at this condition? Like you were already lifting and working out?
I was at 165, and the BMI for my height, not like my height and my age or whatever, like it's
That's hilarious.
It's 150, 155. So the fact that I'm only 5'7" and I weigh over 150, I'm technically obese or overweight.
That's hysterical.
Yeah. So and then I was like, "Do you realize that I have muscle on my body and muscle weighs more than fat?" Da, 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 da. Like, what are you saying to me right now?
This is basic shit. Like, how are you a doctor?
But and that's why my whole thing about doctors, like, it's interesting. I mean, it's money though. I get it. It's their hustle. It is what it is. It's fine. So like, to me, it's like, listen, I don't care if you're obese. If you want to be thick, baby. You like walk around. Be like, if you want to jiggle.
There's dudes out there for you.
Yeah, like, exactly. Somebody likes it. I don't give a fuck. I guess it's fine. But when it comes down to it, you're gonna die faster than I am, and I don't want you to die before I do. I want you to live as long as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. So why would I be okay with you just walking around at the weight that you're walking around at? That's bullcrap. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I want you to live long, and you can't live long based off the science that we found out so far. Walking around at a obese or 35% or whatever, I hate BMI. Walking around where you basically jiggle, like that's just it. It is what it is. If you're super high fat, if you're over, it's like women. So it goes 15%, 20%, 15% for men, 20% for women is where body fat usually sits if you're like somewhat athletic, right? If you're really athletic, then it's a little bit lower for both of them. Fine.
Because women can carry more fat.
Yeah, because they have boobs, pretty much.
Boobs and butts.
Yeah, and they need more fat because women go through a lot hormone-wise to actually function.
And if you have low fat, that can mess with your hormones too, right?
Exactly, 100%. So many things, but that's definitely a part of it. So it's like, if I'm looking at it from that position, fine. Just don't have any more than 25 to 30% fat. If you want to be a little bit thicker, you can. Just work out. I can build your body to where your thighs look the way you want them to look. Now, boobs wise, I can't do that because when it comes down to it, that's just, boobs are fat content.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, but some girls happen to have a lot more boobs than others because they happen to hold more fat in their boobs. And if that's you, I love you. That's great. That's you. That's fine. As for the rest of your body, because of how hard it has to work, I just don't want you sitting there and living like this, because the thing is, at the end of the day, you are going to die. There's no like way to go around it. It's literally, it is what it is. From what we've seen, you will die faster, you will die earlier than everybody else if you're overweight or if you're obese. I'm not saying if your doctor says you're overweight or obese, but you happen to also be able to see your six pack, that's bullcrap. Unless you happen to be a bodybuilder that happens to be like, because there's physique and then there's bodybuilding. Yep. Physique is someone like you and I can do physique. All we have to do is make sure we look good and pose a little bit. Bodybuilding, when they get kind of extensive, they like the guys that are big, like Kai Green, huge guys, right? You take steroids. They're like we know you do. The heart's a muscle. You increase the size of your heart, but not in a natural way. There's a lot of things that go bad with steroids, right? That end up like kind of obviously killing you earlier. So BMI wise, it's a little different. But as for a natural, regular person walking around the streets, if your body fat's over 25 to 20, most likely you're actually obese. Not your BMI, your body fat. And if that's what it is, then okay, let's take that down a little bit so you can be a little less stressed. You can work a little bit like you don't have to work as hard for your workouts because your body's actually like the thing that baffles me is like at the end of the day, if you lift weights, you put on muscle, right? If you put on muscle, you have higher metabolism because your muscles technically, yes, they burn fat. So what's the problem?
All day long.
Like a guy like my first ever instance, my first ever thing with the trainer when I met one was when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old, and he was like, "Yeah, man, you're sitting at this weight at this amount of muscle, you can burn like 2,000 calories a day without even doing nothing." And I'm like, "Oh, like literally, if you look at it, I mean, your body's consistently burning. When we work out, we just add to the calorie.
That's a weird thing for me. Is like I always think about like, okay, I'm an active dude. I work out, like all this stuff. So I'm like, I gotta eat.
Yeah.
Like when I get hungry, I'm like, I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna give my body what it needs. Obviously, there's been points where I'm in a caloric deficit. I'm trying to get a little bit leaner, whatever. And I'm kind of depriving myself a little bit. But like for most of the time, like like right now, I'm not really sticking to any kind of strict diet. I'm not counting my macros. I'm kind of just like, I'm trying to just eat what I know to be a healthy diet, eat lots of vegetables, eat lots of good protein, getting some fat in there, like just keeping like a good balance. And then when I'm hungry, I'm eating. Like that's the thing. But the thing that I was going to say is we were talking about when you have the extra fat walking around and all this stuff, and you're like talking about the higher metabolism, like burning all this stuff. When you're just sitting and not working out and you're not active, you're still needing to eat.
For a fact.
And you can lose weight just sitting around and just changing your diet. But you're going to have to eat a lot less than you're currently eating.
Exactly.
And it's just science. Calories in, calories out.
Yeah. So like to me, like people say, I heard you say earlier with the diet exercise with Adam, and it's like the 80, 20, 90, 10 rule, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes down to it, the only reason why nutrition is more important is because of the fact that whatever you put in, you have to put out. That's it. If me naturally, we've done. I did the test, and I've done this thing called Avatar where this
Avatar nutrition.
Yeah, that and they're funny because they say eat what you want. They don't say like, I mean, bro, I've had abs off McDonald's. Like I've done it because I wanted to see what would happen if I did it. And when it came down to it, I realized it's literally just the fact that I have to have a certain amount of protein, certain amount of carbs, certain amount of fat. I burn 500 grams of carbs a day. Almost. I burn almost 130 something grams of freaking fat or whatever, but I need 170 whatever grams of protein for me to have my muscle, like that I want to be at. Basically, when it comes to protein, as long as you have your, as long as you eat enough to where you want your body weight to be, in protein numbers wise, then you'll be at that body weight. The only problem that comes there was if you happen to be someone where we're active and we happen to burn more carbs or more fat. Mm-hmm. No one burns the same. They're like there's this guy named Dr. Poliquin or Mr. whatever Poliquin, and he has done so many studies on things, and it's like when it comes on to it, the talk of diet is weird because some people actually have, like, obviously they're allergic basically to certain kinds of foods. I mean, I have one of my ex-girlfriends, I was talking to her the other day, and she was telling me that I went to get her allergy test done, and she can't eat protein. Oh no, she can't eat our main sources of protein. She can't eat eggs. She can't eat peanut butter, things like that. And it's just because of the fact that she's allergic. She's allergic to it. Because she's allergic, it's not gonna hurt me eating it and eating it is not gonna affect her body the same way. She's been eating it for how many years? It's done nothing that she can notice on the outside, but on the inside, it can be messing her up completely. It's the reason why she's having more inflammatory responses. The reason why she's carrying more weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just because like her hormones are acting up a certain way because she's allergic to it, but it's not showing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Kind of like gluten intolerance or whatever that people are constantly talking about.
Yeah, things like crazy things like that. Like that's one topic I'm still trying to get into, like the whole gluten intolerance thing, but it's crazy. Like there's just so many things that are out there in the world that technically are right, but they're still kind of wrong. Mm-hmm. Like you can eating healthy is important because of the fact that when you eat healthy, you get less trans fat and less saturated fat. When you eat out, you eat processed foods, whatever. But when you cook your food at home, most likely you're gonna eat mostly unsaturated, which is the good fat. It doesn't affect your cholesterol in a negative way, which is good, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't get enough calories in, you're not gonna be able to get to where you want to, period. It doesn't matter what you eat at that point. If I want to be 180 pounds, I need to eat somewhere between 170 and 190 grams of protein. And if I want to be able to hold that down, I need to make sure that I eat enough carbs and fat that are gonna be my energy storages, that are gonna deplete so that my protein doesn't go down, and that because if my protein goes down, my muscle goes down. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So put it this way, protein is your like, holy crap, we ain't got nothing left, we're about to die energy source. That's why if you see somebody starving in the desert, they're not gonna lose. I mean, they're gonna get ripped to shit because they're gonna lose all their fat and all their carbs, and after that, they're gonna lose their protein, their muscle. Their muscle, exactly. So. Otherwise, if I can hold that off by keeping it there, by adding the fat and the carbs and the almonds, which is awesome, the freaking sweet potatoes, whatever that are carbs, that wise, if I can hold that on so I can burn that and not burn my protein, I'll keep my muscle. It's really simple. You know what I mean? It's super simple. It's super.
That's
simple.
Interesting. Makes sense though.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense because a lot of people they think they're gonna lose weight by like starving themselves. basically.
And it's the worst way to go, because the thing is, when you do that, you go into this thing like avatars said it as metabolic syndrome, and pretty much what that is, your metabolism is slowing down because it has nothing to keep working off of. Why would you, if you wanted to drive your car, but you wanted to drive faster, would you just not put gasoline in it at all?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, the weight from the gas makes it heavier, but you still need it to be able to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, like people that do that. I mean, granted, there's a story about this guy apparently where he was like a 500 pound, 600 pound guy, and he didn't eat for an entire year.
I heard about this.
Yeah, and he survived off
because basically he was kind of like keto.
Yeah.
He was like IVs and like all this weird stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
He shit like once every 6 months or something crazy.
Yeah, that guy. Exactly, that's him. But it's like, to me, it's like, okay, you did that, and that's great. What I want, and apparently he didn't go bad. He didn't end up jumping back in the weight or whatever. Like, knowing the story after his process. But at the end of the day, it's like, you could have enjoyed life a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
You could have ate some freaking salmon, some freaking steak, something. You could have lived still lost the weight.
The weird thing that I heard, though, was because it was, because essentially it was kind of like a keto diet, sort of. Like, his energy source was his own fat. Like, and I heard what happened, though, that was unique was that when he went back down to size, he had no stretch marks and no extra skin.
And that was the weird thing. I was just like, how the frick did that happen?
All of his skin just went back, because that's a big problem is when people lose a whole bunch of weight, their skin stays stretched out and loses elasticity. But somehow because of the starvation factor, his skin all went back in, and like that was the weirdest thing to me.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm like, once again, science strikes, because we have no idea what the hell that's about, because I've never heard about that with anyone in the world except for him. He's for all we know, he might have some genetic disorder.
And it was
no
back
idea
a while
about.
ago that this happened. It's not even very well documented, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even, like, you can't even really find pictures of this dude.
Exactly. Like, I didn't even see him. I just read it. I just read it. That was it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just,
I tried to find pictures of it. I couldn't find any.
Yeah, man.
Because I was curious. I was like, geez, are you serious? Like, what happened?
Because my biggest problem was like, there's no way you did that and you maintained that. And then apparently he did.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, if it worked, then that's awesome. But that's just crazy.
What do you think about all these weird surgeries where people get like bands like around their stomach and all this kind of weird shit?
That's just, to me, it's like, okay, they're your organs. They're supposed to be natural. They're supposed to flow. Let them be as they are. When you do that, you're doing something that's obviously not normal. It's like the uncircumcised. I mean, you could do whatever. It's like,
weird because I was literally thinking the same thing.
It's like that same principle. Like, you're supposed to live a certain way, and you're supposed to have your organs work a certain way. The reason why they're built from whoever made us, they made us this way for a reason, or whatever, or however we came about, it was for a reason. We're supposed to flow. That's it, right? If I put a band on my stomach to try to hold my hunger, that's great. Okay, cool. I'm holding my hunger. I'm still gonna have to eat. I still need to fuel my system. If I was to do it to myself, I would still burn 4,000 calories a day. I would just want to eat less at a time. It's just dumb. What's the point of that? It's someone trying to satisfy something that's inside them that's bothering them for no reason, because for some reason internally it's just hurting them, like, mentally. So they feel like they have to do it. Like I said, it's the same thing with like being transsexual or whatever. Yeah, it's fine if you do that. If you want to change yourself to try to make that thing happen, then you can. But at the end of the day, physiology wise, you're gonna work the same way. You're still gonna be hungry. You're still gonna have a calorie demand. Those people that do that are doing it because they don't understand how exercise and how like being alive and how like working and living works.
So why do you think these doctors are even performing these ridiculous stuff?
Bro, because when you hustle, why do drug dealers sell drugs? You make money, man. That's it. Like, it's like to me, I guarantee you half the doctors nowadays go, well, damn, if I just told my client right now to diet and exercise, most likely they can live a lot longer than me giving this blood pressure medicine.
How many obese doctors are there too? That's the most hilarious thing to me.
That blows my mind. Dude, dog,
I would never want to go to a fat trainer.
But come back to trainers. The first guy that ever told me to become a trainer and get my NSCM certification was overweight. He had a gut. And I was like, so you're a trainer. I can be a trainer too, right? Yeah, just get certified. And I looked at him and I was like, all right, cool, man, thanks. And I was like, wait a minute, you're a trainer? Like, how are you a trainer?
Yeah.
That's why, like I don't want the reason why I'm getting my degree is because the way I look at it is this: if I know what I know, then nobody can tell me shit, and no one's gonna define me when they see Dr. Assad, and they're gonna think, oh, he's a doctor. It doesn't matter what he's a doctor of. He's a doctor. Period. You know what I mean?
And if you look the way you look, that speaks louder than anything.
Thank you. But sadly, there are people out there who would say, like, obviously, I can guarantee you, there's a doctor out there that will look at us and be like, I don't know shit about anything. What do you know about living long? I can talk to you for days about how to live longer, but he would still be like, I'm still a doctor. Like who are you? That doesn't matter because I've gone through my life to get to where I want to be. I'm still this thing. You're still whatever you are. I don't care about your life.
And that's the weird thing about doctors too is like, what is a doctor? Well, let's back it up. Obviously, they know a lot of information, but there's no reason why you could not know more information than them, but you don't have your certification. It's because you didn't go through the traditional methods and you didn't get certified as a quote-unquote doctor.
Exactly.
You could have the same exact amount of knowledge as a doctor. You could be more fit than a doctor. You could probably live longer than a doctor. And you could probably give better advice than a doctor. The only thing is the law does not permit you to write prescriptions and see patients.
And to me, it's so with my grandma, to get back to my family and where I am and where how I am and why I'm this way. My grandma right now has Alzheimer's and dementia, like I said, and she's like declining hard, bro.
Yeah, my grandfather had it too.
Oh, so you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So you understand? And
doesn't know anything what's going on. Doesn't remember anybody.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's scary.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if you look at that, but then you look at the studies and they say, oh, if she would have, or if they would have just ate a little bit healthier, they could have actually avoided it. They're starting to look at things and say that sweet and low, the fake sugars that are out there, might have had a situation that actually kind of that actually helped make Alzheimer's worse. That actually helped, so that basically developed it. So now you have things that are out like this that are like, okay, well back in the day, because my grandma, she drank sweet and low all day, every day, and Diet Coke, all the fake sugar. And now apparently we're finding out that there's a possibility that she actually was putting herself in this position because she just thought Diet Coke was better. Because Diet Coke has what? Less calories because it has no sugar, but it's something that's in it that's obviously fake, that's making something else bad happen. It's like me working out. I always say I want to train and I want to work out and I want to break these records and I want to stop working out heavy like I do now at 33. After 33 years old, you're going to see me doing the freaking treadmill, walking, having a nice relaxed life, and I might do some things that are kind of high intensity or whatever, but I'm not going to snatch anymore. Because the thing is, I know what it does to my body. I know what it does to me Newtons wise. There's always something that there's always a good and bad to everything that you do.
Yep. So there's always a trade-off. Andy Galpin talks about that.
Exactly. So if I train like a freaking madman and I'm breaking my body down, my joints and my freaking tissues are like, dude, you're killing me. So I might get to this place one day and I might get to this trophy. I might get to that goal that I want to get to. But at the end of the day, something's going bad with this. That's why I want to stop at a certain place.
Yeah.
My grandma, when she sat back and she was like, ooh, Diet Coke, I can chill. This is less calories. I'm gonna lose weight, blah, 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 blah. But now all of a sudden we're finding out 10 years later.
Trade-off.
You know what I mean? Like, yep. And that's when all she had to do was eat healthy, walk 30 minutes a week, lift weights 2 to 3 times a week. Come on, man.
Life is all about doing the things that pretty much most people are not willing to do. Like, for example, in the morning, like waking up, taking 5 minutes to like meditate or think about your day or whatever. Most people just like wake up like as late as possible so they can get the most amount of sleep, and then freak out, run out the door. They don't have breakfast. They don't take a second to think about anything. And when they get home, they gotta do all this other. They never take a minute to like slow down. Or maybe they or with their workout. They don't take any time to actually prep. Okay, what is the most optimum workouts that I could be doing to increase longevity? But they just hear like, oh, my friend just started doing CrossFit. I'm gonna go try that out. Which kudos to you. I love that you're trying to do something better for your body and all that. But it's like you gotta look into what is that kind of stuff doing to your joints? What is that stuff doing? Like, what is your goal?
Exactly.
Which leads me to something that I wanted to ask you. Like, in the beginning, we were talking about that. Like, what is the goal of, like, what you're doing? With powerlifting, the goal is ultimately to be strong as fuck. Like, as strong as possible.
Exactly.
To lift as much weight as you can. Like, that's the goal. With bodybuilding, the goal is to look as aesthetically pleasing, in their opinion. Obviously, a lot of people are grossed out by bodybuilders.
Exactly.
To achieve an aesthetic and a physique that is that is very hard to get to.
Yeah.
You got this Superman V taper. You got these giant ass arms, huge quads, huge.
It's almost unrealistic.
It's almost unrealistic.
It's godlike and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's godlike, and that's why people try to attain it. And then you've got you've got marathon runners. What is their goal? Is to run for as long and as hard as possible. Like it's not necessarily running the fastest. What's a sprinter? What's his goal? To run the short distance as quick as possible. So as a human, if you got a normal ass job and you're just doing normal life and you're trying to live as long as possible, and you're trying to stay healthy and feel good and look good because you're trying to get sexy too.
Exactly.
Like what is that for people? Like what is that medium for people? Like what should people be doing? You know,
when it comes down to it, it comes down to literally being just balance between putting enough muscle on and having a strong heart. And all that is low intensity cardio. Like I said, either circuits where you're staying, but you're keeping your heart rate at a certain place. Usually for most people, 130 and below, you can hold that there, right? Having that 2 to 3 times a week to keep your heart strong. And then after that, putting on enough muscle within lifting 2 to 3 times a week, or if you want to, more, because the odd part about that is a situation like of adaptation. You can't, like people try to have a trainer for a month and then leave. And the thing is, that's fine. But when it comes down to it, you're going to adapt to my workouts after a month. I have to change something to make you keep growing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I would say as an average, yes, 2 to 3 times a week of regular low intensity to keep your heart strong.
Cardio.
Of cardio, exactly. Conditioning, jogging, walking. It can be walking depending who you are. It can be running depending on your fitness level. And then 2 to 3 times a week of lifting weights to putting on muscle. That's it. If you can do that, most likely you'll live a long life. The only problem that it comes down to is, one, let's be honest, after you start, you're not going to want to stop. You're gonna want to keep on going, right? And if you don't, cool. But at some point in time, you're gonna adapt to what you're doing. Your body's gonna be like, all right, I'm used to this 30-minute jog. I'm used to the hour of lifting weights. What do I have to do to change this? And this is where you change into the whole like adaptation, switching it up. Once you stop getting sore in your workouts to a certain degree, it's like, okay, something's bad. Because the thing is, my body's not getting confused like it should be getting confused right now. My body's used to this. I don't have months where I do the same workout at all. I barely have 2 to 3 weeks where they're the same workout at all. I want to say I do that because like if I do it, it's because I'm trying to make there's one certain thing happen, like, okay, my body needs to get used to sumo deadlifting, so like water leg deadlifting, right? So I want to do that. I might do that for 3 weeks to 6 weeks, but I'm not gonna keep the rep range. I can't, because the thing is, if I do, so we'll say 6 to 12 reps for hypertrophy or for building muscle, right? But my goal is to get strong. I still got to get back to that 1 to 6 or that 1 to 5 rep range to get strong. If I end up keeping it at the hypertrophy range the whole time, okay, cool. If I lift the same exact weights, my body's gonna be like, okay, I've done this before. This isn't new. This is normal. I have to at least lift heavier, or I have to change how I'm working out, or what exercise I'm doing. I need to go back to regular deadlifts, or if I'm doing
twinkle toes deadlifts.
Yeah, like people get so weirded out by having the being on your toes and squatting, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. Yes, it's bad. But if you have your heel supported when you're doing regular squats and you have your heel raised up, you actually can focus a lot more on your quads. So for a bodybuilder, he'll be like, oh shoot, I wanna develop more quads. I need to do more high-heeled squatting. Let me do that. Because right now I'm gonna be a little bit more anterior, push a little bit more to the front. So I have to focus more on the front side of my body doing the work. So yeah, I mean, like it gets really in depth when it comes down to it. But basically, as long as you're still getting taxed by your workouts and actually still feeling sore and being challenged, then you're still probably doing the right thing. Like it's not too complicated. Just if you're someone that doesn't want to buy a trainer, or you can't afford a trainer, or you can't afford like a program for whatever amount of fee for the month, that's fine. Just go to another machine. Just try something else. Do something different. Life is about trying things. I've never traveled. Listening to you and Adam talk about traveling, I was like, gosh, I need to travel so bad because my whole family wants to travel. I need to do it. It's something that's different, and it's something that's going to end up expanding my mind. It's going to change my whole mindset, you know what I mean?
That's like the whole thing with what you're saying, people at the gym getting mad that there's like tons of Asian and Indian people, dude. It's like, dude, when you travel, like, you get your mind expanded to so many things, because you just realize, like, yo, we're all just people. Like, Asian people act a certain way, not because their eyes are shaped different and their skin complexion is different. It's because the culture. black people don't, like, you might hate black people. You don't actually hate them because their skin is dark. You hate them because of the way that you perceive their culture and how they act.
Bro, that's a whole other podcast.
Totally.
To all my black people, I love y'all so much. But damn. For what we're known for the most part, dude, I try to stay away from it so much. And it gets me mad because people are always like, Anthony, Tony, bro, you're so white. And I'm
You're
like,
acting
why?
so white.
Yeah, and
I hate that.
I'm like, why? Because I speak intelligent? Because that's what they're known for being? That's kind of fucked up, you know what I mean? Like, it's because my mom said, once again, you can't go outside. You have to stay inside so you can be this one thing. My mom was raised in Queens, New York, for the most part, right? She's from Jamaica. My mom has seen the bull crap. My mom has been around my dad, who was not a great guy when it comes to being around the right people. He's more of a hustler than he is a regular like school regular culture. Like he's more of the black culture pretty much. So it's like, but he works hard, so he does what he has to do. When it comes down to it, she's been around the fights, the gangs, the whole, oh shoot, I'm gonna hide a freaking pocket. I'm gonna hide a little blade in my mouth so that when it comes to getting into a fight, I can go slash somebody's neck because I have to like fight for my life. She's been around that. She's also an IT that sits at home and works and makes a well amount of money every single month to make it for her kids and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's educated. She also has 2-3 degrees. Like, she's smart as hell. She happened to be in a situation and understand what one thing is and what it could be. That's it. I think if we can take away this the whole stipulation or the stereotypes, if I could say no more job applications that say I'm black, white, or Hispanic or Asian, if I can just say that I'm just a person who I am and this is what I am and this is what I've worked for, I think it'd be a way better change. And I think if we could just take away the stereotypes, if we could just take away what people are known for being, we can look at who they are as a person and what their soul's at. Because honestly, I'll most likely hate somebody's soul a lot more than I hate their culture.
Mm-hmm. Because that's the other thing. Is like I said, is like if your skin, I don't hate the actual skin. I don't hate the actual way. I mean, some people are racist as hell, and they'll be racist for no reason because, well, I hate the way they look. I don't like the way they look, or whatever, like stuff like that.
You had the country accent. You had the country accent if you had to, because you knew that's hilarious.
But here's the thing: the people that have those country accent, typically, a lot of times, like, have you ever seen what was that show? W. Kamau Bell, I think, was the host, and it was a show on CNN, and he actually went to like a bunch of KKK meetings and stuff, and watched them act like burn crosses and all this stuff. And it's funny because he talked about it on this podcast. He was talking about how when he actually spoke with them, after a while, like, he would crack some jokes and they would laugh. You know what I mean? It's not like they literally hated him with every fiber of their being. And the KKK now has this weird thing where they say, because if they say they hate a certain thing, the FBI would be all over them. But what they do say is, instead of hating, they say that they just really, really love white people. That's how they get away with it.
That blows my mind, bro.
But the funny thing is like, he was cracking jokes and they were laughing and stuff. I bet you that some of them were probably like, that one dude wasn't too bad, but the rest of them, fuck those guys, But it's like, when you're stuck in like this little town in Kentucky and all you've seen is white people,
socialism,
you hate that one black dude.
It's that nurture, bro.
Yeah, and just like the guy at Lifetime that like doesn't like the Indian guy because he took too many towels or whatever it is. Like, he's mad at this dude. But it's like, there's also a bunch of stupid white people that took a bunch of towels and don't get mad at them because you're not paying attention to them because they're not different than you. You're only paying attention to the dude that's different than you, and then you're trying to find things to nitpick. Oh, it's okay. Once it hits a certain point, it like starts a new recording.
I was all right, cool.
Oh shit, the recording is deleted. No, that'd be terrible.
Oh, no.
That'd be terrible.
But yeah, man, like, that's...
But it's like what I was saying before. It's like, if you believe in a religion, you're gonna start to see, like, kind of like the 777 thing. If you think 777 is like a thing that's positive to your life, you're kind of on the lookout for 777.
Exactly.
But I might see a 777 and not think anything of it. So it's kind of like what you think about, you bring about. Not in the sense that your mind has magical powers and can bring things into the world. Whether you believe that or not, cool, whatever.
That's up to you.
That's up to you. But what I believe is, like, what you tend to put your focus on, there's way too much stimuli for our brains to process everything.
Yeah.
But if you're focused on one thing and you focus on black people are evil, you're going to see black people doing evil things.
Exactly.
But if you focus on everyone is just a person, how can I see the positive in everybody? You're going to see the positive things in everybody.
Exactly.
And you could see a black person doing something bad, and you could say, "Wow, that's unfortunate that his circumstances have brought him to this point."
Yeah.
Or, "Wow, you can say, wow, that sucks that he's been put into that point where that is the judgment call that he's decided to make." But I refuse to say, I mean, obviously, I would say 99% of people agree with this. I refuse to say the skin color determines why I don't like the person.
Yeah.
It's because of their character and their soul, like you said. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like the funny thing is when I was in high school, I think it was my sophomore or junior year, my teacher asked us, she was like, shout out to Miss Armstrong. Oh wait, no, Miss Gradisky, because you're married now.
Hey.
Right? She said to me, she was like, if you could have the world the way you wanted it, what would you do? And I said, honest to God, we would have never bit the apple. We would all be blind, walking around butt-ass naked. And she was like, what? Like, that's how you would live? And I'm like, yeah, because guess what? No one's going to judge anybody then. You don't know if I'm black by my voice. I mean, come on, dude. There are some white guys that walk around that have the craziest, like, black, quote-unquote, accent. And it's like, bro,
Which
where
is
are you
weird
from?
that you call it a black accent, because it has nothing to do with the skin color. It's all about like culture and like environment of upbringing.
It's wherever they were. You might, once again, I was raised in Queens, New York, but
you could call it like a street or a hood accent too.
Yes, exactly. You can call, but see, and then when you
people
think,
say black accent.
when you think street or hood, you think black. You don't think, all right, there was a white kid who has his whole life planned out with his whole freaking savings bank, investment, because that's how they're supposed to be apparently raised up, living in the hood. Because when you think of the hood, you think of black people. When it comes down to it, bro, anybody can live in the hood. The hood is literally just like monetary. It's about how much money you have and what you could afford. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's
just a bad area. Like
yeah,
the hood.
That's it.
The hood is literally short for like a neighborhood, and it's like a bad hood.
Yes.
It's like a bad neighborhood.
That's all it is.
And people say in the hood because they're like, yo, we're in the hood, you know, what's up? I gotta rep my hood.
Like,
and so like hood became like a bad thing because people are like, this kid, he lives in the hood. And you know, and it's because that's what people were calling it. But a hood is literally just like, yo, this is just a bad spot.
Yes.
And it's easy to get trapped in that spot. It's ezy to be caught up in that, and you make that your whole life, and you don't see anything other than that. Like a lot of times, if you went to, I've heard, I can't remember what I was listening to, but I heard about how they took these kids from the inner city of Detroit, I think it was. They'd never even been out of the state before, and they went out and showed them these beautiful parks and all this stuff. And like it was crazy. And when you asked those kids about like their dreams and hopes and stuff, they were dreaming way too low. Because they didn't ever see, they couldn't even like fathom like getting up there, and no one had like taught them, yo, you can achieve other things above what your parents have done. That's what a lot of people do. They limit themselves to their parents' achievements because like, number one, your parents teach you everything you know when you're younger, so you don't think that there's a way to get above. But like, your parents don't know what they don't know. And the only way you can achieve higher is to know more things and do more things.
Exactly. I mean, so for me, it's almost like I said. So from one big example to one small example, you have the fact that I went from Queens, New York to here, and it was like, whoa, I can be this thing. I met CEOs of businesses now. I'm like, holy crap, I can be something that I never knew I could be. Then you have the situation of me being in high school where I didn't even know powerlifting was a sport until I graduated. Like pretty much, I want to say when I graduated, not even honestly, I didn't know powerlifting and Olympic weightlifting was a sport that actually people had like competitions for until my second or third year into college, because it's not out there like that.
Yeah.
No one knows it's like that, and unless you're someone who's a fitness guy that's into the situation and actually cares about it. But if I wasn't exposed to it, how can I ever know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, my big dream with life is to basically make it so that everyone that's being put in this bubble can just get their eyes open just a little bit more. Because guess what? If I don't have guys like you who are putting my voice and putting like Adam's voice and people that have been through things that I have never been through out there, then the person that's sitting in that situation can never become something else. Does that make sense? So
totally.
Yeah. So if I don't know what fitness could be because I'm not interested into it like to my extent, but I still work out, I'll never know that maybe me doing CrossFit all day long may not be the best way for me to live my life. Until someone that's been out there, that's been searching and understanding and researching the facts and everything else and the science behind it, to say, yeah, it's not that great. And now that you know that, because I let you know that because of someone like you who put me on this, they can go, oh shoot, I like CrossFit a lot, but maybe I should cut it back to maybe once or twice a week or something, and maybe I should cut it back or cut it out, period, and just do this so I can live a long life for my kids and my future,
Yeah, and if you like doing badass stuff, you could do some ninja stuff.
Dude, this is my thing. Life is about balance and variation, and whatever or however we were created, they did it right. They say that the best way to go about life and being healthy is by eating variety of foods, right? Because there's different vitamins and different there are different minerals and whatever in certain kinds of foods, right? So never eat the same thing every single day because you're gonna have a lack of something. So it's just like working out. If you have no specific goal, if you don't have a specificity that you're concerned about, dude, live life. Go hiking. Then after that, go freaking throw a barbell over your head if you want to, or go hit a heavy deadlift, or go horseback riding,
or do some yoga.
Do some freaking yoga, exactly. Do something that's different, because the thing is, you need it. You need variety in your life. First of all, it keeps flavor, bro. That's it, and that's what y'all need to be happy. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Exactly, man. You can't keep reading the same chapter over and over. You got to read the rest of the book.
Exactly. I love you, Andrew. Andrew.
Dude, I feel like that's a good place to wrap it up. You want to, obviously, if people want to follow you and stuff like that, where can they hit you up? You already mentioned 777 Kid.
Yeah, so on YouTube, it's just Anthony Assad. Last name spelled A-S-S-A-S. Yes, A-S-S-A-D. And then after that...
I'm sure you got that a million times growing up.
Dude, my whole life. And then and Instagram is the 777 Kid. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
And we didn't even talk about this, but on your YouTube channel, you've been doing a lot of stuff, like putting a lot of videos about proper form and all this kind of stuff, inspirational kind of stuff. What can people expect that they follow you on YouTube?
So if you follow me on YouTube, you're going to see a mixture between instructional videos to learn how to work out, and also a mixture of just kind of finding yourself and being okay with you being yourself. I want everyone that follows me to understand that at the end of the day, if you love yourself, it makes it a lot easier to love somebody else. That's it. I'm way more about love than I am about fitness. That's what it comes down to. So
that's really cool, man. I love that you said that. That makes so much sense too, because a lot of the most hateful people in the world hate themselves. I think that's what it all boils down to.
It's an internal battle, man. It's an internal battle.
There we go. Well, cool, man. I think that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Peace out. Man, that was a good one. Seriously, this episode was one of the reasons why I love doing this podcast so much. Seriously, I love this podcast so much because I get to have awesome conversations with the best people. Anthony's such a cool guy. And even though Anthony and I have been friends for, a little while, we never really got deep or had super meaningful conversations. And that's what brings people together, man. It's super important to have those types of conversations with people. We get too distracted. We don't ever sit down and have a meaningful conversation. That's what I love about this podcast. And that's how you form long-lasting bonds. That's how you make progress. That's how we really connect on a deep level. And I'm glad you guys were able to ride along on that journey with us today. Seriously, super fun. Loved having Anthony on the podcast. I want to thank him again. Make sure you follow him on all of his social media platforms and reach out to him if you have any questions or anything. He's also got a YouTube channel he's building up with all kinds of videos on how to do proper form and certain exercises, all kinds of inspiration, motivation, all that kind of stuff. I want to thank Anthony again. And also for for putting up with me talking about baby dicks for 10 minutes. Never again, hopefully. Oh, man, I think I've exhausted myself from that subject for a while. Oh, gosh. Oh, I need to shut up sometimes. But anyways, episode 45 is up next with Hillary Billings. And I know I said this episode was good, but holy crap, this next episode was seriously amazing. Hillary's one of the most fascinating people that I've met recently, and she's the epitome of what I love in a podcast guest. Number one, she is a host herself. But hey, some hosts kind of suck, and she definitely does not. So she does on-camera hosting, red carpets, behind-the-scenes interviews, all that kind of stuff. She's a contributing writer for many big publications. She's a former Miss Nevada of 2013. And after graduating from college, she was actually a full-time nomadic traveler, blogging about all of her crazy experiences along the way. She's visited tons of amazing and exotic places, and no lie, I think Hillary has had some of the most fascinating stories I've heard on my podcast. And I know I say it a lot, and I said it about this podcast, but I think episode 45 with Hillary is definitely very, very high up there on my favorite podcasts ever. So that episode will be dropping very soon, hopefully on Thursday. It's very late on Monday night right now, so by the time you're hearing this, it'll probably be Tuesday. So in a couple days, but stay tuned for that. If you want to support the podcast, you like what I'm doing here, obviously if you've listened this far, you're hopefully entertained, you like what I'm doing here, please share this podcast with a friend. I know that we talked about a lot of weird stuff on this podcast today, and we also talked about a lot of interesting and cool stuff. And if you have a friend that you think would like this podcast, it would mean a lot to me if you shared it with them. I'm trying to get this podcast out to more people, and the best way of doing that is through word of mouth and you guys just sharing it with your friends. That really, really goes a long way, and I know you guys are out there actually telling people. I ran into my friend Alex the other day. She was telling me that she was listening to this when she was an intern overseas, and she was sharing it with all of her friends. Those kind of stories just mean so much to me. It really means a lot when you guys are sharing the podcast with your friends and everything. But the other best way that you can support the podcast, if you don't want to share it with your friends, or even if you are, the best way to get this out to more people is through iTunes. And iTunes just happens to be one of the best places to discover podcasts. They're a huge aggregator of all the top podcasts. So if I can get higher up in the iTunes rankings, that will help me so much. And the best way for you to help me get up in the iTunes rankings is for you to go to my podcast and rate it 5 stars and leave me a little review. And I actually go through and read all the reviews. So if you want to leave me some feedback, or you appreciate what I do, you want to let me know, leaving a comment in there, I will definitely read it. I will definitely see that. So thank you guys so much for doing that. If you want to follow me on all my social media platforms, you can go to my website, andrewdeitsch.com. That's Andrew, DEITSCH.com. And you can find links to all of my social media handles and accounts there. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks again for all the love. I really do love you guys. Like, that might sound super cheesy, super cliche as hell, but if you're listening to this right now, I appreciate the fuck out of you. And if you made it all the way to the end of this one, you guys are the best. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.